Happy Monday, degenerates. Welcome on back to the Die Hard MMA podcast. Your host, as always, your boy Clint, rocking the baby blues. We are on a count 'em six event win streak, ladies and gentlemen. 7 if you're counting Dana White's Contender Series. You know, the last couple of seasons, what I've decided is I really suck at betting Dana White's Contender Series. So I've taken the approach of sniper. I look for one shot, just one. I try to steal one unit on a Tuesday night, see if I can pick one play that I'm pretty sure is going to come through. And it's worked out pretty well for the most part. But last week, we had not one but two spectation boys on the card, two of whom I am very excited about and have been saying are going to make it to the UFC, blah, blah, blah. And so I ended up pulling the trigger on both of them out of principle. And guys, I don't think Abe Elsinger won that fight, but I will take it. We ended up scoring 5 units on Tuesday Night Contender Series last week. And then, of course, we had UFC 330 this past weekend, and it was good to us. It was good to us. The only thing that I was wrong about, really, I mean, seriously, I destroyed that card from like an analytical standpoint. I am kicking myself, you guys, because I'm on this win streak right now, and for some reason, my confidence still has not kicked back in yet. You are not dealing with gunslinging, wild man, wild card jumping out the back of the van version of Clint yet. I'm still not there yet. If I had been, we would have accumulated generational wealth last week because I nailed that card down to the big underdogs, right? We talked about Chidi Njokwani. We talked about my freaking boy Dustin Stoltzfus. There were like 3 over 1.5s that I wanted to bet. They all hit. I kept the card very tight because I felt like it was a dangerous card. And generally speaking, I think that probably is a good way to approach things. It's proven to be working for me as of recently. So I'm not going to kick myself too hard. I made about 1.15 units worth of profit just on the small little card that I kept together for the weekend. I did take a tiny little itty bitty half unit shot on Ian Gary when he was plus 650 going into round 3. And I fumbled that one. That one we gave back a half unit. So I ended up profiting less than a whole unit for the entire card because I donated that back a little bit. I really thought he was going to turn the tide, you guys. He ended up winning round 3, and I felt like a god sitting on plus 650 after calling the whole card correctly and then being like, not only that, but I sniped a plus 650 in the main event and he's turning this fight around. I thought I had it in the bag, but Islam just too much. Islam just too much. Welcome into the show, everybody. We are riding hot. We are feeling good. And a lot of that is because of you guys right here with the love and the support. My man, Lajuan Dream, what's going on? Muhammad in the house. Andy G, grateful dude. My boy Vin Z knows what's up, saying it's a streak. That's right. It is an official, real-life, grown-up boy winning streak. Dixon Sider loving the new profile pic, my man, with Oral By working behind the counters at McDonald's. He said, just wanted to let you know that Oral By has been placed on toilet cleaning duty. He's also going to be scrubbing McDonald's floors with a toothbrush. Yeah, he deserves it, man. That's one that I couldn't believe that. Like Jeremiah Wells at 40 fucking years old, outlasting my boy Oral By. And then Oral By giving up the damn ninja choke. I mean, like, that's just all-time bag fumbling, you guys. We stay away from those bridge jumping prices of 10-1 for a reason. I tried to warn everybody last week. I even gave you guys an example. I was like, look, if you get like a minus 275, minus 300 favorite, you parlay them with Oral By, you're still talking minus 240. It's not worth it. Don't do it. That right there is why, ladies and gentlemen. That right there is why we avoid those spots. Dear God, I hope you guys were able to avoid some of that. What is up, Cameron Junkin? My man, Super Green Samurai, says, I faded, man, sir. Congratulations, my man. I knew he was a fraud too, but like I said, I was a little a little on the low end on my confidence. So I should have just piled units this past weekend. So holy shit. He says my Stolfus Turner parlay hit plus 11 units. That's insanity. Parlaying Dustin Stolfus, you madman. You've been watching me way too long. Robert Page, what is up? Dave Johnson. We've got everybody rolling in here. I'm just Drew, my boy Carl Zimmerman. How we doing? Colby, what's up, buddy? All right, guys. It seems like the crew is getting in here. We have assembled the Avengers, but we got one more. We got one more very important member of the Avengers we got to get here on the squad so we can break down this fight. One of your favorites, one of my favorites, none other than the Southpaw man himself, Dan. Tom, what's up, Dan? How you doing?
I'm trying to think. Is there someone on the Avengers who's like constantly getting their ass kicked? Now that you mention it, I'm trying. What's up? What's up? Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm not even that cool, man. But I appreciate being cool enough to be invited here, man, and chat fights with my guy Clint. And even though I usually don't like if I'm on junkie, I'll turn the chat off. I just years of negative stuff. I kind of know what the market thinks of me for the most part, but I will say I want to shout the diehard MMA chat. You guys are some of the most positive people in what is a toxic space. You got all stars like Dixon Sider in the chat. My guy Venezi, who I'm a big fan of, and sounds like we're into a lot of the same things as he's getting me hungry over there, Venezi. But yeah, I just want to give a shout to everybody here, and thank you for having me. I'm not the hottest ticket in town, but I appreciate being here.
Brother, you always have a place here at the Die Hard MMA podcast. So we're not going to do the self-depreciating talk. We're not going to be looking down on ourselves. We're all up arrows from here. So don't worry about it. Of course, I do have absolutely, without a doubt, the best chat in the entire game. I've trained these people since day one. There's no bullshit, no disrespect around these parts. And the people who find us, they learn quickly that that's not what we're about. So we have the absolute best people listening to the show. We appreciate your technical analysis. And I told you this in a DM a long time ago, man. Betting is a very, very difficult thing to do. There's a reason only 1% of people actually succeed at it. There's a reason I only do it for fun, you guys, because it is very hard. I've gone through crazy swings where I have doubled my money over the course of, a year. I've also lost an entire bankroll over the course of 9 months that, like, it's up, it's down. If you're not a pro, you're probably not going to be winning, but your brain is spot on. You talk with coaches, man. You're hanging out with Eric Nixick at Extreme Couture. Fighters are looking to you for notes and information. Like, just because the betting aspect of it is kind of slipping through your fingers a little bit doesn't mean that the info is bad, and it especially has no reflection on your character at all. And that's why I love you in the first place. It's because you're a damn good dude. Man. So we're just hanging out. We're having a good time. The people appreciate you. We got some fights to talk about, man. What did you think of UFC 330? What did you have anything stand out to you on the card?
No, man, I just got washed, and it was the worst kind of wash. I'm having a lot of people pile in with the here's what happens. Either every time a tout wins, they always do a PowerPoint. The next day, go, listen, guys, this is a secret. This is what you got to do. It's all about this and that, right? And then on the other hand, if you like lose your ass like me, you get people giving you the advice, right? And this one was a hard card, Clint, because
just pick winners, Dan.
Yeah. I'm already a long shot and volume guy like yourself, and as you know, we get a lot of crap for that, despite being the most transparent guys, which is if I can compliment back at you, sir. I will never say I'm the only person posting my loss these days, although it feels like it, because you're a guy, rain, sleet, or shine. You are always transparent with the people, and I hope the people appreciate that. I know your people do. But yeah, man, this one was a tough one because it was a big slate, even for me and those standards, Clint. And it was one where, and again, I call balls and strikes here just because you see me complaining or crying. People be like, oh, he's crying. It's like he's making excuses. Like, I'm not making excuses. If you actually read what I'm saying, I'm taking full accountability. This was a card where there was no bad beats. There was a lack of good beats, which is normal for me. It would be nice to get like saved. I see people get saved on the timeline with bad beats all the time, and I'm like, or good beats all the time. I'm like, can I get some of those maybe? No, but you know what? I should be grateful because I guess I didn't get any, bad beats. This is one I just was bad bets. I wasn't saying, oh, Gary was so close. Like, you didn't see me doing any of that. There was no cope in there, folks. That was just, a bad bet. I had Makhachev exposure. Unfortunately, I didn't give the decision enough respect, Clint. I had the submission tied up. A Dern submission would have been a 10-unit swing for me. So that was a bit painful to watch.
How did she not finish that fight, man? After the first couple of rounds, I thought she was for sure cruising to like a late TKO or something.
Yep, and then I had Rebovic's KO tied in with stuff like fight doesn't go the distance in parlays with the Gastelum and Luque, or not the Gastelum, the Luque fight. So, I mean, there were things that could have happened very easily that would have changed the night, but it just wasn't that way as it is for me. It's one of those things where, I'll move on for this, but just for your chat, it's a fun challenge. One of my buddies, Martin, has been actually going all the way back to like Anderson Silva, Forrest Griffin days to try to get me, but I only need one hand, folks. If you can point out any like bad injury, like atrocious decision, like weird beat, you put it in the chat. I'll tell you where I was at. And so far, Clint, going back to 2021. Now people are going back farther because they can't seem to get past one. I only need one hand to count it. And even if you go to those, like when Gamrot beat Fiziev by injury, I was actually on the right side of an injury for once that night, Clint. Guess what? You go to those nights, I still lost those nights overall. So how many breaks have I had? I don't know. But boy, I don't use the word do anymore. I just come and I try to give good analysis. And that's what we're going to do here today. I got Southpaw stats and all that stuff for your audience. They're going to be the first to get it. So let's go.
Yeah, dude, that is the favorite thing that you do every single week is that Southpaw report. Very, very sharp info there, you guys. Very, very good info for the Southpaw report. It's something I don't think about, man. I always try to give you credit for that because I like literally never even consider the Southpaw side of things, right? So it's something I look forward to when you tweet it out every single week because I always forget to take a look at that, and it's very important. But was there anything besides the betting that really like stuck out to you at UFC 330? Because there was a lot, man. Like I wanted to buy low on Charles Johnson. I chickened out. I thought I was really, really smart dodging a bullet. And then he came back and he nukes Eduardo. Nukes is the wrong word, maybe, because he caught him in a sub, but did the damn thing. Dante Johnson, I've been on this guy and singing his praises and talking fade McConaughey for months. I still can't believe people put money on McConaughey. I called Cheaty as the upset, but I'm too cowardly. Nice. I didn't trust my balls enough to actually put the bet on it. Cheaty and Dustin were the two guys that I said I wanted to bet, and I didn't. Jalen Turner was another one where, okay, real quick, Dan, I got to kick you off the screen here because I need a minute with my people. You guys. I fucking blame you guys. Every single one of you on the internet, because this is getting streamed over to my TikTok live feed and my Twitch and my Twitter. Every single one of you sons of bitches, because I was balls deep. I was going to go in on Jalen Turner max bet season. The amount of reverse line movement and people who I respect in the community fading Jalen Turner and watching that thing steam the other way had me second guessing myself. That was a generational wealth spot and I chickened out. That's my own damn fault. But yeah, that was cool to see. 32nd KO. Good shit.
I just wanted to say, page mark that, because not just the Southpaw talk, which is going to be relevant for this coming breakdown, but there's another similar dynamics. I know exactly what you're talking about. Part of me is like, do I go on Jalen Turner here? Because I feel like this is going to be the public dog, right? And win or lose, I've been actually pretty good about spotting and avoiding being on the wrong side of the public dog in recent weeks. I was on the public dog in Hernandez last week. I ate crap. I even had a total takedown prop, which people were asking about that. They weren't really too much giving me crap. Like, why'd you have both? Well, because I actually really like to fight ends by KO. But my guy Billy from Action Network was already on it. We did the pod together. I didn't want to jock him. And then by the time my article released, that as well as Hernandez money line, like the lines were inflated. And I'm not going to give out steamed lines, right? So the total takedown line, I thought, if this fight for whatever reason goes long and screws me that way, and whether Hernandez wins or loses, I could see him getting just one takedown. And no, it ended in a blink of an eye, and I was left holding the bag. And unfortunately, again, I like you, Clint, I actually do play what I put out there, folks. So it really cost me double there, but I feel you. And there's going to be another spot like this on the card that we may or may not be opposite ends on, because I'm having that mess with me. I'm like, oh no, I was originally going to go with the Hernandez of the card again, but now I want to be on the Turner part. So we'll get there. But yeah, there was some interesting stuff, and I just want to commend you before we go, Clint, because onto the next card, because I really like your approach of sniping on Contender Series. And I like that you've carried it over to, I know I just said we're more long shot, high volume guys. So it might not look like a shortened card for some people, but it is for you, man. And
it's like half of my normal action.
Yeah. And I just want to say it's noticed and it's appreciated, and a genuine tip of the cap to you, man. This run has been, consistency is a hard thing to do, especially with our style of betting and the fun we like to have. So a tip of the cap, man. It's something that I've tried before, and I'm gonna see if I can try it again this week for whatever I do bet. But it's awesome, dude.
Thank you very much, my friend. I do appreciate it. One last thing before we get into this card, you guys, I got to tell you, Keith Peterson, no nonsense. He got caught in 4K, man, red-handed.
And the technical ability of both these ladies.
Got him.
That man took his shot. He saw his opportunity and he got in there.
He was going to do a face first stoppage.
I know, right? I gotta come to my girl Jillian's defense though here one more time though, because what the fuck, man? Her coach going on the after the fight show and like just trashing her as soon as the main event was over. I get if you're close to retirement. I get, maybe they had a conversation behind the screens that was like, this is probably my last run, you're my last fight or something. Maybe that conversation did happen, that kind of thing. But damn, dude, like she's still not even done consoling herself. She probably was still in the back crying after losing her opportunity at a title fight. And he's like, well, that's it. I'm retired. You know what I mean? That was rough to watch. Now, I will give him credit. He came out. He apologized. It seemed very genuine. I will be real. I think he's a genuine dude. So, like, I'm not going to hold it against him long term, but watching live was like, bro, the fuck? That bothered me a little bit.
That bothered me too. I'm glad you brought that up because that was I don't want to go in a soapbox, but that was some BS. I really feel bad for Jillian there. And that was just super unprofessional. It showed a lot of colors from Dean, who's a guy I defended and whatnot, but I don't know, man. Some people show their true colors in those spots, and that was tough, man. I didn't like that at all. And Dixon Sider, I know you put him on the thing there. I just want to say I still do work with Home of Fight. I do their coverage, and I will say this: I would talk to anybody about Clint and say the good things about my guy here if he ever wanted me to or needed me to, buddy. But we're all family here, so yeah.
Yeah, my man Dan is good to go, and thank you for thinking of me, Dixon Sider, but zero interest, man. Nah, fuck that shit. Mr. Guy 5911 coming in hot today says, Clint, will you stop the brain dead take on hating Christians? What brain dead take are you discussing, my friend? Now, I know you're referencing Jalen Turner because we talked about that last week. The brain dead take of Christians losing their killer instinct, Andy, is I believe what he was referring to. And it's not a brain dead take. It's historically accurate. So miss me with this bullshit. Like, Jalen Turner seems to have rediscovered that killer instinct, but there's a long decorated history of people finding religion late in their MMA careers and then just falling flat on their faces. It has nothing to do with hating Christians. I'm a Christian myself. I'm just saying, when your job is to hurt people, you have to reconcile that with your faith. And a lot of people have a hard time with that, especially if you're a real Christian, a true Christian, because it is kind of hard to go out there and try to assassinate somebody when you're supposed to be on the good side of things. So that's something that Jalen admittedly struggled with in his own words. He seems to have gotten over that hump, and good for him because I want to watch him fight. But it's not a brain dead take, man. It's legitimate. And you can call me all the mean names you want, my guy. Hang out, chill, talk fights, whatever. Fuck off for all I care. It's not a brain dead take. It's historically accurate, and you can suck a big one if you disagree because I've got truth and I have statistics and I have history on my side. So you can shove it. I ain't in the mood today, folks. Come on, let's go. All right. Guys, let's get on track. Let's talk. We recapped. We had some fun. Let's get into UFC Sacramento, my man Dan. We're headed to the beach. I wish we could have like copyrighted music because I could drop some Beach Boys right about now to cue this bad boy up. We are not talking about Fluffy Hernandez. See, I'm all out of shape now because everybody's got me all twisted here. We go bottoms up, not top down on this podcast. What am I doing? First fight of the night. It is Shanelle Dyer, and she is taking on Elise Reed. Oh man, I am looking forward to this one. Vinzi, I know Sacramento is not a beach, but it's in California. Damn it. Come on. Everyone thinks of beach when we think of California. You know what I mean? All right. So Shanelle Dyer is the newest, hottest thing in the UFC, 7-1. She is 25 years old, and I find it intriguing. Man, she lost on Dana White's Contender Series. She had that absolute war with Carol Faro. And if you go back and you rewatch that fight, you guys, they were both beaten and bloodied within like 3 minutes. We're talking like gushing down the side, like it's on their arms, it's on their hands. Like that was a vicious, brutal women's MMA fight, and it was awesome to watch. So Dana does a Dana, and he's like, hey, you were so awesome. Even though you lost this fight, we'll give you a shot. Usually I'm not super excited about fighters that get to the UFC off of losses on Dana White's Contender Series, unless it's like a robbery or unless it's like a DQ or something, you know what I mean? Something like that, where it's like extenuating circumstances. You straight up took the L. I'm like, I'm already kind of like earmarking to watch you very, very closely. Well, she makes her UFC debut, and they throw her the softest of softballs. She gets Ravenna Oliveira in her first UFC action, and she absolutely wrecks Ravenna Oliveira. I mean, it was one of those fights that after a minute, it was like tough to watch, man, because Ravenna starts to slow down and you're like, man, we need someone to step in and save this girl. We need to stop this right about now. We are not going to see very much more of Ravenna Oliveira. She has not been able to win a UFC fight, and that is spanning across 3 divisions in the organization. So that win doesn't mean a lot to me, Dan, if we're being honest. Like, if we're just cutting it clean and dry at this point, Ravenna Oliveira is just kind of a speed bump in the UFC. So I'm not really worried about it. But what I do like from Dyer is she seems very physical. She seems very tough. She has that marauding Muay Thai style where she's like real heavy on her feet, lots of elbows, lots of knees, and apparently she hits pretty damn hard too.
Yeah.
The consequences, the real, there's a good knee as well. Look for that knee. She's got a great knee. Oh, and looking for the finish. She throws it to the canvas. This could be it. She's got to get out of there. That's it.
I was misclicking there, man. I was trying to play that clip. My bad. Go right
No,
ahead.
no, you're
Give me
good.
your thoughts here.
No, she's definitely powerful. She caught my eye. She's so I do annual scouting reports for Junkie Column, where I'll list about 20 or so prospects each year to keep an eye on, and those age really well. Now these aren't people in the UFC. These are people before they even get to Contender Series, folks. And something I'm pretty proud of. I'll do the record win-loss of it and the finish rate, and it's always 70 percentile upward, like insane. Again, if only my bets age that well, right? Like again, I always joke, I get everything but the bets, and this is one of them. And shout out to your people at Spectation Sports. I come across their prospects all the time. I'm always
There's more and
marking
more of them
down.
every week now.
Yep. Yeah. There was like 3 or 4 that were like right on the cusp. Like the names that didn't make the cusp, like the top 3 or 4 were like all Spectation Sports ones as last year too. So like if they're not making it, they're like right there kind of a deal, and
Right around
still
the corner,
aging
man.
well, regardless if they're on my stupid list or not. The point is, Dyer was one of those fighters on my list going back like 2 years ago. And so I really suggest you follow those, not because if you want to be like a hipster analyst, but I know this person, but this is a betting show. This is for bets. If you want to get an early edge on who's on the come up, and even if the bookmakers have a good idea, if my dumb butt does, then they probably have somewhat of an idea. That being said, at least it won't be one of those spots where you're like, this is an unproven guy at chalk. Let me take the dog here. You might be able to save yourself getting burned from some of those spots because you're like, oh yeah, no, this person's chalk for a reason. And Dyer was one of those folks. And, even with the loss, I didn't really mark it down too bad, but it is something to keep in mind when you're dealing with big odds. That being said, even though the Ravenna Oliveira win doesn't impress me much, I think, we could very much fast forward to Shanelle Dyer's next fight in the future, and be saying this about Elise Reed, because Elise Reed, like Ravenna Oliveira, she loses to the prospect. She loses in a certain way, and she tends to fade down the stretch. So again, finishes aren't necessarily crazy. However, if you want to be, woo-woo about it, Elise Reed's been on a win-loss record dating back to like 9 fights or something, not even looking. And so she's due for a win on there.
5-4, man.
Yeah. But I don't think, like I said, even with me and my record, I don't don't say the word due. There's like people who are like the luckiest people in the space that are millionaires that say they're due every week. It drives me nuts. And not even I say I'm due. I gave up saying that word. But yeah, I do not think Elise Reed is due here, Clint. I think it is a Dyer win. Unfortunately, the market basically has you priced out for it. And I'm not going to be messing with inside the distance violence bets, because that was something that I've learned the last couple of weeks, where, you know, typical MMA gambling or even casual betting. I don't mean that as a disrespect, because when I say these things, I'm guilty of them too. You know, I know we all know the Clint's 100,000% right about the parlay thing, right? That he told you so on. But at the same time, we should all know that. But at the same time, let's be honest, we've all done that, right? You know what I'm saying? Like as much right, and as much as I've been getting burned doing the typical MMA betting bro stuff, I'm like, violence bro bets, round one, easy money, that I see pollute my timeline every week. Of course, when Dan Tom does it,
that's the most infuriating thing ever. You see people cash easy, and then you try it. It's like, what the hell?
And they're like, oh yeah, it's so easy, right? It's so easy. That's almost like disrespectful thing. Like I think you went on I don't want to say a tangent because that would be a negative, but it was a couple of shows ago, Clint, you went on a round one thing, and like I totally agree with what you said on it, by the way. And you know, but yeah, I'm not gonna get tricky here with it. I may have some angles that I'll give out later in the card, but my confidence is low for good reason. Clint's confidence is low for not good reason. My confidence is low for good reason. So I'm just going to pick the favorite here, Clint, and stay away, Mr. Safe Analysis here.
I hear you. Man, I parlayed the round one KO with Lockjaw and round one sub with Ramiz at 13-1 last week, and my boy Ramiz blew the whole thing for me.
Oh, dude, that was rough.
I thought it was a lock. He's got 4 minutes of control time in round one, and then got sucked into the Magniverse. What are you gonna do? Elise Reed, you guys, like Dan said, a literal 500 fighter in the UFC. She's 5-4 overall, and she's coming off a devastating KO loss from my girl Denise Gomes. Now, I do want to put a little bit of context to that, because Dan, she's a very good striker. I feel like she's really underrated in the UFC as far as her skills on the feet. And all of her finished losses have come by women who can grapple. My girl Sam Hughes wore her out, took her down, and then in round 3, she had nothing left to give. She got TKO'd because Sam kept rinsing, repeating the takedowns. She's been taken down and she's been submitted. Nobody's ever iced her on the feet. If you stand with Elise Reed, that's where those wins come from. Seriously, every single time someone's been dumb enough to go, okay, you know what? I'm not going to mix in the grappling. Or if they're not a good grappler to get those takedowns, Elise has gotten her wins off of those carcasses. So you've got to respect what this girl is capable of on the feet. Now, I will say, I think she's kind of a bygone generation, right? I expect Dyer to be larger in there, stronger in there. But if we are talking about a 15-minute striking match, I'm not entirely certain that she's going to go down to a big shot. Ravena Oliveira does not have the striking ability, defense, or durability of somebody like Elise Reed. Dan, this fight is my PSA. This is Big Tobacco Oral Buy like last week. Stay the hell away from this one, you guys, because I could see this one being a lot closer than suggests. I'm with Dan. I'm going to be Mr. Safe. I'm going to pick the -750 Shanelle Dyer to get this win. It's interesting that the betting line is shaded towards the under. I do think that could be some serious recency bias because of the knockout that we just saw in Dyer's last fight. Yes, she is tough. Yes, she is violent, but she's been in extended fights where it's been kickboxing based before. And Elise Reed is exactly the kind of girl that can give her that kind of fight and test her in this kind of spot. So I actually kind of think it's it's Shanelle Dyer by decision here. And the over 2.5 is something I'm going to take a long, hard look at, Dan. I'm not ready to jump in at this moment and say that for a fact is what I'm doing, because coming off of a year-long layoff and coming off a big KO like that, I don't know that I want to take that stance with Elise Reed. I want to see some interviews. I want to watch her weigh in. Like, this could be one of those ones where she's completely donezo and she looks super flabby on the scales and it's like 1 foot out the door. Like, so there's lots of ways that she does get finished here, right? But if she's coming correct, and if she's like, no, I'm going to remind you guys, I'm going to save my job, I'm sticking around, and she comes in and they size up well, like, this could be an extended fight. So don't get too excited on Dyer inside the distance. If you want to go that way, just make sure you're certain that that's what you want to do, because I think this fight could look a lot closer than this number suggests.
Yeah, last thing I'll add, Venezi asked about the takedowns too specifically. I don't think she mixes it in. Dyer is underrated grappling in the sense like her leg dexterity translates really well for her jiu-jitsu. So if opponent wanted to take her down, maybe you get a cheeky submission there. She's gotten like omoplatas and like grappling matches, right? But this isn't in the small cage, so this is the big cage. And Elise Reed, she's more of a karate kickboxing, like I think she's from the same area, if not from the same camp of Stephen Thompson. So it's more karate versus Muay Thai here. And Elise Reed's going to be using that big cage to move around, to Clint's point, as far as like, the over. So if you can get a Dyer by decision or SBG Dyer over anywhere near even money, like maybe that's worth a look. But yeah, I agree with what Clint has said here. It could be a total trap in that regard.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm mostly focused on the total, you guys. I am picking Dyer. I'm just saying we saw a 10-1 go down last week in Flames. Don't go right back to the well with the minus 750 in women's MMA. Just saying. Mr. Guy coming back and says, sorry, I said that. Now, tell me about sucking a big one. I'm sure you're an expert there. More like sucking a big two, them big old titties. I'm an expert in that. Okay. Apparently, I'm a 14.
You motorboating son of a bitch.
I know, right? ESPN is never hiring me. All right, let's go. We're talking Jackson McVey and Wes Schultz in the second fight of the night, and my first action of the evening. Boys, I am locked and loaded, so the confidence is starting to come back a little bit, Dan. Usually I've been kind of tiptoeing around making my bets, playing it careful. Only got one last week coming into the show. I got three already, you guys. I've got 3 bets locked in already, and I've got one here for this one. So Wes Schultz has to be just the most embarrassing fighter right now, currently rostered in the UFC at 9-3. This man is 30 years old, so he is not a prospect. He is in his prime, and he is 1-1 so far in the UFC. He got absolutely decimated in his first fight. Now, he ran into Big Penis, so I'm not going to hold that too much against him. But in his second fight, he fought Ben Johnson. And Dan, again, maybe I'm jumping a little bit ahead here, but I don't think much of Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson sucks. He's 35 years old, so he's way too old to be getting into the UFC. He was one of these brought in because we're in the region type of guys, and he dominated Wes Schultz in this fight. Wes attempted 5, count them, Dan, 5 guillotines in this fight. And he is a wrestler. Wes Schultz is supposed to be a guy who goes in there and bullies you and gets a takedown. That's what he did on the regional scene. He's got all these subs. He's got all these rear naked chokes and these guillotines. He's taking people down. Well, this guy, he ran into his hips and it looked like he hit a brick wall. He immediately fell to his back. He pulled guard like 3 times in that fight. And no, that is separate from the 5 guillotines he pulled. Like, actually pulled guard, got this guy on top of him, and then had to wrestle out of the bad position because he was that desperate to be on the ground. Now, in round 3, he jumps the final gilly, and he does secure it and silences the crowd and gets a big win. But Dan, he looked exhausted. He looked defeated. He had given up. It was over. The crowd was roaring for the hometown guy. He was down 2 rounds. Like, that was a victory that he snatched from the jaws of defeat and frankly never should have happened. Absolutely never, ever, ever should have happened. So you've got an ass 35-year-old who you can't take down, and you pull a win out of your own ass to somehow get 1-1 in the UFC. Wes Schultz is cooked, you guys. He's not making it in the UFC. I'm telling you right now. Jackson McVey, big old Minnesota boy, who you guys know I'm a little bit excited about when he made it to the UFC. Now, he is moving out to Arizona, you guys, training at the lab. He's taking pictures with Jared Cannonier, and this boy is big, Dan. He is a big, big body. He's an assassin. On the regional scene, he is dicing people up. 4 finishes in under 60 seconds. Like, he comes at you like a bat out of hell. Now, he's 1-2 so far in the UFC, but some of that, Dan, is matchmaking. His UFC debut was a short notice F-it fill-in against freaking Diego Ferreira, the guy that knocked out Gregory Rodrigues, who's in the main event of this card, right? Like, he gets armbarred in the first round by that little monster, and then he gets in there against Zach Reese, and he had Zach Reese dead to rights, Dan. That's one that it's a huge indictment, in my opinion, if you lose a fight to Zach Reese. I don't like Zach Reese. I think he kind of sucks. I know you hang out with the Extreme Couture boys. Don't get too on me for that. I apologize, but
No,
I'm not a
wrong,
fan
no.
of Zach. I'm not big on Zach Reese. But Jackson gave him hell in round 1. Had him wobbled several times. Did whatever he wanted to him. Adrenaline dump. That's basically like his first fight in the UFC. He gets schooled on the ground by Bruno, gets his arm snatched, and then in his second attempt, everything's going the way he needs it to, but this ain't the regionals anymore. Zach Reese didn't go down. He adrenaline dumps. He gets choked out in round 2. Okay, fair enough. Now he finally gets on track. He gets his first win against who other than Cedric Dumas in his last fight. But now he's got 3 UFC fights under his belt, and the UFC is going, okay, we got to slow this down, kid. They are giving him the lowest level of opposition they possibly can. They're giving him Wes Schultz, who can't grapple, who's not a good striker, who's not durable and not confident on the feet, and a guy who's basically a guillotine merchant requiring him to get his wins, right? Jackson McVey is going to take this dude out back. Like, he's going in the wood chipper, Dan. Jackson McVey is a better striker. Jackson McVey is a better grappler. Jackson McVey is younger. He is bigger. He's training at a better gym. Everything is Jackson McVey in this spot. He's minus 185, and I parlayed him, Dan. I know that might sound insane. A 1-2 guy in the UFC. What are you doing, Clint? Why are you parlaying him? Because he's going to murder this man, Dan. I am not fading shit with shit. I am fading complete ass with an unpolished turd. Okay, so it's not the same thing.
Yeah, no, it's not. And this, you know what? The line is that sweet spot. I was just having a conversation with my guy Billy Ward. Shout out to Billy at the Action Network about this. Where like, do you ever do those moves where you take like a short within the minus 100 leg number and you make that a parlay leg? And we were talking about Ramiz Brahimaj, who at that point, even inflated, was only minus 145. And for me, Clint, I don't know about you, but minus 150, that's my straight chalk kind of diameter. I like minus 150 or below for a straight chalk play because I'm not a big bankroll guy. But yeah, sorry, what was I saying there? I got distracted. But no. So the minus 150, I'm like, just play him straight, right? Why parlay something like that if it's under there? So I went and I played Ramiz straight because I'm like, oh wow, I'm the guy who's always like taking dog shots on old men and failing miserably. And I stopped doing that as much this year, Clint. I picked a hell of a year to stop, playing the old men who are now all coming through post drug testing.
Season.
Of course. Yeah. And so I don't know what hurts more is like missing out on spots that you usually are known for. I know you know exactly what I'm talking about, Clint.
I do.
Or betting spots you usually hate on, like Yoel Alvarez. I've been the biggest hater of him, trying to tell everybody, oh, he's the classic MMA gamer. Oh, he's tall, he's handsome, he finishes, he's dynamic, he spins. And the MMA gamblers that go to my stage are jerking off. Can I bet him? And I've been the guy going, you guys are dumb. And everybody's like, you're dumb, Dan. Look at your record. And then I'd be like, I'm right. And then be like, okay, maybe you're right, but you're still dumb. And then what do? I go ahead and I be dumb and I bet Yoel Alvarez despite being right about him this entire time, right? And so I don't know which one hurts more, Clint, but I have a habit of doing both at the same time. It's a fantastic, fantastic thing. But about this fight, though, the 185 line by line value, by line definition, this would be one where you would parlay the minus 100 to round it back to that to defend your play. However, this is scary for me, man. This is your specialty of the dumpster diving. I don't mean that as an insult. You claim it yourself, sir,
Absolutely.
proudly, and I appreciate you for it.
I live in the trash.
I know the people appreciate you for it too. But I went dumpster diving on the last fight, and I agree with you that Ben Johnston is crap. But I thought he was good enough to beat Wes Schultz. And when they posted like a plus 260 or whatever it was, I can see it in my head because when you get to I love taping. It's so great because it clearly pays off in the end, all the hard work for me. If you look at my record, for one. And for two, all those bad beats I told you guys about that I actually have the receipts for. Oh, boy, is it so fun to relive those every week. And this one was not one I can get mad at the MMA gods for because I bet a Ben Johnston Wes Schultz fight. Like who can I blame but me? You know what I'm saying? But boy, was it tough because the finishes were so there. And if it wasn't a guy who, like you said, was just getting the call up, had no gas and ran out of ideas in round 3, the finish was right there on the table. The finish will be right there on the table for this fight too. I do favor Jackson McVey. I do pick him. I do agree with all those things. And with the Zach Reese thing, not only do I not take offense in that, Clint, I'm glad you brought that up because that was a fight that was put together on short notice too. And that's something that, again, it's not, when you're winning, it's skill. Bets are skill, right? When you're losing, it's luck, right? That's like, but listen, folks, I keep that same energy when I win, and what I say should not be controversial. Luck is, it doesn't matter what you do. Luck isn't entangled in no matter what you hit, especially in this volatile game. But even more so luck, and you should be even more grateful that when you cash your bets, folks, which, if anybody's grateful for bet cashing, it's me, because I just watch people do it all the time. And it's like, oh, that looks good. That looks tasty. I wonder what that tastes like. Is that fights? We used to, Clint, you know this, man, back in the day, the golden era, when we were coming up watching the sport, doing jiu-jitsu on the mats, 8 weeks was the minimum, even for a prelim fighter. You got like 10, maybe even 12 weeks for the championship fights as main events.
For sure.
Now we're getting popular champions on popular big events, and they're probably getting ready, but it's getting announced like 6 weeks out, guys. We're getting fights announced like a 5 or 4 week camp for a main card fighter on a fight night is a long time notice. So you're depending on these people who are already not dependable to be ready, right? And it's already volatile. These people are already not coming in at 100%. And even if you had inside, people are like, oh, what's some inside information, Dan? You're an Extreme Couture. A, I'm not in there as much as you think. I'm not in all the practices. B, I actually have something called a code of ethics, respect, and discipline, all those things. I don't. And C, even if I were to just give you guys information, are you telling me that Renato Moicano, who was already almost a 3-1 dog against Benoit Saint-Denis, right? And you're telling me that you found out that Moicano, who was already in a dog of the fight that everybody thought he was going to lose, was injured, and he walks out with his collarbone protruding?
Don't remind me about that night, man.
But the point is that night is that inside information is bullshit. That's what that point is. You guys get what I'm saying? Is that
the one time, Dan, if I could interject here,
please. Yes, please.
Literally, you guys, the one time I got insider info, and I mean like a text from the source, it's never happened ever again. I got one shot at inside info, and it was blown up in the fight. Like, dude had a legitimate high tier injury, and it was like, no, he's cooked. He knocked the dude out with a body shot, and it was like, fuck me. Like, so yeah,
exactly.
Only goes so far in this game, but yeah, man, I'm glad we're at least agreeing on the right side. I will say, I'm just Drew in the chat. Shout out to you, my guy. He says you're not mentioning that it's a rematch, and Wes actually subbed him. Now, a little context. This was back in the amateur season, and it was only the second fight for my man Jackson McVey. So much time has passed. So much evolution has happened for both of these guys, because that was Amis, right? The beginning of their Amis, not even counting both of them now have about 10 professional fights. I will say, Drew, that normally I would give more weight to that if it was 3-4 fights ago, but that was a lifetime ago. These are different people. So I am fully expecting Jackson McVey to be the one with more upside, to be the one who's more well-rounded at this point. And again, like I said, bigger, stronger, better camp. Like, I don't think he's getting armbarred in the first 10 seconds the way he did on the amateur circuit. So I'm still very happy in my position where I'm at. It's not like a smash spot, you guys. It's not like this is, click the easy button. But I do think that Jackson McVey has a future in the organization, and I don't believe that Wes Schultz does, if that makes it.
That makes sense. And let me just, I sidetracked myself. I apologize. And I will try to be more positive and easy, but you're talking to the wrong guy. I've been doing this longer than with all due respect to Clint, even here, like literally 95% of the people's space, I've been doing this longer than, and again, taking a disproportionate amount of beats. So if I'm negative, if I'm a bit burnt, like I have a reason to be, like I work like 4 jobs. And also like I would argue I'm more optimistic than anybody, because I do what Clint does. Not only am I transparent even on the bag losses, but what do we do? We turn it around. Clint turns it around every Monday. He doesn't even get. I at least give myself a few more days than that. You're a champ, Clint, at this.
I splash some water on the face and rip. What do we do? Yeah, rip a Red Bull, and we're back at it.
Yeah, we turn around, we win. And even though I have every reason to stop, and it would be the smart thing to do, or I'm going to definitely turn it down this week. Like, I'm breaking down these fights with Clint, and even before getting ready for the show, and I'm getting excited again. Like, as down as I get optimistic dude. I will actually get a green light, because I don't just get red lights, I get yellow lights, because again, losing a bet isn't enough. I have to lose painful. Getting a red light isn't enough. You got to get a yellow and just stop you. I'll get a green light, and I'll be like, dude, my day's turning around. I'll be like Mr. Positive over the littlest bullshit. If you guys could only see, it's just I get crushed all the time from life. It's what it is. It's just hey. But anyways, I wanted to say that I was going to round out to the rematch because you can even ask Clint. I was just scanning their record and saw that because I was finishing up Southpaw stats for you guys. Schultz, of course, you know, if you count that one, that is his UFC level Southpaw. I couldn't find any other Southpaws on his record. Not that it'll matter because Schultz's striking is really bad. And to that end, I do think I like fight ends and sub more than anything. I'm picking McVey. I'm on Clinton's side, but I think fight ends and sub, it's not going to be a great number. The books will know, but it could be like kind of like a cycle leg for you and ends and sub for this fight if you guys are crazy and do that kind of stuff.
I don't mind that at all. Fight ends by sub because both guys are capable of it. There are cardio concerns. Both guys are wanting to grapple. And then violence. You guys, violence. Because I think Jackson McVey finishes early, but we literally have seen him gas out late and then get finished in the UFC. So that's entirely on the table as well. So violence bet, I think, makes sense here. I will say, again, I'm going to credit the MMA lab where they're at. Look at what they did with Mario Bautista. Yep. They're second only to ATT with the fluoride in the water that they drink. So I'll bet you his cardio is probably a little improved in this fight. So Jackson McVey, the moose is on the loose. Let's fucking go. Next up, you guys, we've got Gage Young, and he takes on Stan Dorsainvil. Gage Young, as you guys know, a member of Team Spectation Sports. We like Gage Young, and we like him a lot. We've had a good time with him so far here in the UFC. He is 26 years old. He is 2-1 so far in the UFC. He's coming out of FAC, the regional promotion. He lost his debut to Evan Elder, and I was just so high on Evan Elder at first, Dan. I really thought this dude was going to be absolutely legit. So I kind of gave a pass on that one. Then he goes out there and bounces back against Mahashat and Thiago Moises in back-to-back fights where he really shook some people up. He impressed a whole lot of people coming through as a big underdog. He was supposed to be squashed by Mahashat and fought his ass off that night. And then the Thiago Moises fight, it seems like Thiago Moises has lost a step. It was a close fight. It was a split decision. He got his hand raised. That's kind of all that matters, but he's definitely stacking up some at least notable wins to start his UFC run here. And there's really no shame in running into Quillian Salkild these days on Dana White's Contender Series. So he lost on DWCS, but Salkild is ready for the title right now, you guys. And he went a full 15 minutes with Quillian. And that's something that Mateus Gamrot can't say. I know it's a different version of Quillian Salkild at this point, but I'm just saying he's tough, he's durable, he's gritty. He's a dog. He's got that overhand right cross. He likes to stalk his opponents down. He likes to cut the cage off. He does kind of lunge in with a power jab a little bit too often sometimes. He takes a lot of shots, man. He's very hittable. He's a brawler, but that chin checks out. So far, he hasn't really had a problem with durability, and he does a good job of attacking his opponent's body to kind of cook them down. 6 wins by KO, none so far in the UFC. That is one thing that does kind of concern me a little bit, that plus regional scene power is not translating to the level up here in the UFC with pros. Stan is 5-0. Undefeated, 26 years old, and he's coming out of LFA. Cody Steele was originally in this spot, and this is a short notice replacement here. And I'll be honest with you, Dan, I think this is a hard short notice replacement. I was very much looking forward to backing Gage Young because I don't believe in the Cody Steele hype. I just don't. I thought that was a pretty good fight for him just based off of name value. But after watching Stan, I think this is a really bad matchup. He starts fast and he gets right in his opponent's face. He's a good grappler, which is kind of surprising. He's built long and spindly, so you'd think he'd be like a Muay Thai striker, and don't get me wrong, he is very good. He has a very long jab. He throws kind of a looping overhand right cross. It's looping because his arms are so damn long. Like, it's a straight shot, but it has kind of a little arc to it. It almost ends up being like a Carlston Harris club when it lands. And he hits people hard with that thing. So he's got serious power. He's a very good grappler. He knows how to get to people's backs. He's got good back control. And he's coming out of LFA, which is a very, very good regional show. He's got 3 round 1 finishes, but he's also gone the full 15 minutes before. So his cardio has checked out. His chin has checked out. The fight IQ is checked out. When he gets rocked, he knows how to survive those types of situations. And he has 4 amateur fights. And that's always something that I look at, is how much amateur experience you have. This guy is just running through everybody. So I am seriously in on this Stan kid. Now, more often than not, Dan, I don't like these low experience guys making it to the UFC, but Gage Young is the type of guy that's going to give him the dogfight. And that I don't think is going to work. I think Stan is longer, he is taller, he is more technical, and he's going to do things like hunting the back and Aljamain Sterling body triangling, and he's going to have that submission edge, which is something we've seen be a bit of an issue with Gage Young. So I really like Stan, guys. I got plus 125. That's your Link Memorial Dog of the Week. I didn't think I was going to be able to use him as my Dog of the Week, Dan, because the number was crashing right after I locked the bet in. I thought the line might flip. It does seem to have bought back and gone kind of the other way. Good to see Gage Young getting a little bit of respect in the UFC. I really like Stan, and I think this is an opportunity for him to have like a big-time coming out party and show some levels here on the mat against Gage Young. Hurts my heart a little bit to go against Team Spectation Sports, but got to do it.
Yeah, this one's funny. I think you're going to get some good CLV here for whatever that's worth, Clint, because the dog money looks fleeting and it's probably going to be gone. Especially if people are jumping on this guy this early, if at all, right? Usually short notice spot, more notable guy in Gage Young. Gage Young's another guy who I had on my prospects list as well. Not from the Spectation Sports side. I can't credit for that one. I got to credit Laura Sanko. She was actually someone that said to look out for him. Obviously, he comes from her gym and her side of things, so that would make sense. But I liked what I saw. The problem was I feel like he got, regardless of if he's as good as, and it's never 100% hit, even though I do have a really good hit percentage on these prospect lists. But sometimes it's like whether they're a hit or not. We've seen the UFC do this with their schedule, and they're very carefree matchmaking, because they're just because we got to have Mick Maynard has to get off. He only can come now if he books like one middleweight rematch card. Hence the last fight we had, But they really don't give a shit about what they book. They just throw toys together and crush them. And we've seen a lot of prospects just get booked and just broken way too early, right? I'm trying to think of names here, or they dwindle guys out their primes like Raoni Barcelos before they finally give them a stupid, senseless main event, which is deserved, by the way. But like,
Dan, we got to give Hani a little bit of credit. They're trying to kill him yet again in his main event opportunity here, but that rugged old dog is making them work for every single bit of it. They never gave him good matchmaking, and he has still managed to prove his worth in this company. So shout out to Hani Barcelos.
And they do that to these lighter weight guys, and they bury him on the prelim. So it's like a lose-lose, even if you overcome it. And I really don't like, it's not all their fault too. Part of it is these managers. The managers are supposed to be protecting and managing careers. They don't manage careers. They coattail to the UFC and whatever they want to do because they don't want to lose their money making opportunities. So you get Gage getting pushed in all these fights that he probably shouldn't be in, right? And to his credit, like you said, I would still say he's probably the more. Even though he's not the more diverse and he doesn't have the output's really like what I like from Stan Dorsainvil, but like it's the power and durability. I still side with Gage Young, and I was surprised to see the line so short. At first, I'm like, oh, short notice fight. Am I going to look at SGP Gage Young and over because this guy is better than what people think? And then when I get into the tape, you see just how much better he is, than perhaps a normal short notice guy. And you look like he was getting ready for a fight that was only the week after. And he had 2 opponent changes, so he was already just kind of staying flexible, probably focusing on himself, as you do on the amateur levels, by the way, because your fights always fall out. I can tell you that. I can tell you that from the regional scene, cornering it, covering it, the whole deal. And this guy's not having to travel huge from the U.S. or anything like that. So yeah, suffice to say that I don't blame you, especially if you got that number. Hopefully it cashes for you, Clint. I'm still on the fence about this as I'm talking about it because I was just cramming so much tape, and I'm like OCD. I have like a whole process that I like to do. A and B. It's not just like to come on Clint's podcast or even when I had my own RIP Protect Your Neck. It wasn't even just for that. Like I have to actually like write, make clips, reports, and like do a whole process. I can't just, and that's another reason why I'm always late to the lines, right? And I'm not someone that likes to give out lines that are far gone. So that people are like, why do you have such bad lines? I'm like, well, it's my process. And I also live in Vegas where we get crap lines out here. We don't get like the FanDuels of the world or the DraftKings. So it's really hard to find points props, I am rounding to something here, folks. I'm not tangenting. I like the points prop on on Dorsainvil. Unfortunately, my one house that has it, of course, it's one of like the 3 fights that doesn't have a points prop to it. They tend to do that on the points props I'm really liking, which is annoying because, again, I don't have the FanDuels or the DraftKings to play these. And I also like the over. Now, the over, it's only listed in one house, that same house, which I'm not going to give any credit to. They're not paying Clint Show or me. But I will say that the over is -160, Clint, and I like that. The problem is I like -1. Like I just said, for me, it's an arbitrary number. We all have our own. But for me, Clint, straight plays, I don't like going over -150 if I don't have to, unless I'm really confident in it. You know what I'm saying? And in a card where I'm trying to keep it low, and I don't often bet like 2 or 3 units in general, much less like on dogs, right? Like, so if I'm going to put a 1.5 just to return a unit, and I've got like, a unit here and a unit that it's not, it becomes really dangerous. And people are like, oh, keep a small slate. And we were just talking about the benefits of that. Well, now it becomes really dangerous when you go higher than your normal unit, even just by a half unit, because now you're not properly offsetting things. Because when I play things as bad as I am, folks, you can go to any slate, even my worst slates from last week, and I will give you the cross coverage counts on everything. Cross coverage, something you probably never hear any capper talk about with their play sets. And that's something that I do. And, so, yeah, I don't know if I want to spend that. 1.5 is going to be my limit. That's what I'm going to wait for. An over or a points handicap. Sorry, long-winded, but that's what I like. Dorsainvil points or the over.
I don't mind it one bit, man. The over makes a little bit of sense to me. The only thing I'll say in rebuttal to that, though, is that this kid is nasty as far as finishing goes. And even though Gage has been durable, like nobody's immune to that finish. And if he gets fraud checked, it could go under. Like this could be Gage's knockout. Right after I said he doesn't have UFC level power, if this kid is not real, Gage might toast him. So like just a word of caution if you're laying chalk on and over in this spot. It's very volatile over in this spot, but I don't mind it. I agree with you. I'm just saying as far as the number goes.
Anyway, great point.
Let's move it along, man. Next up, we have got Márcio Barbosa, and he's taking on Ryan Kuse. Real quick for the people, you guys know this is the Die Hard MMA podcast. We always go longer than everybody else, but this is a long card. So buckle in because me and my boy Dan are going to cover this whole damn thing. There will be timestamps up later. So if you're listening and you're like, bro, I don't got time for this shit, and you have a long meeting that you're going to be stuck in tomorrow, that's okay. I'll have timestamps ready for you tomorrow. Come on back. Ryan Kuse is 9-2. He's 32 years old, training out of the Goat Shed. Shout out Jillian Robertson, our girl, unfortunately losing the title opportunity there. He just won on Karate Combat via head kick. Now he got Kevin Natividad in the LFA before this. That was like his best fight so far outside the UFC. But I'll be honest with you, man, these weird multi-platform type of guys, they weird me out. We just saw this happen, and it didn't go well. What was his name? Milos Yankic or whatever was like a guy that had a bunch of kickboxing and bare knuckle experience. Like he's in all these. So you're like, he's well-rounded. He's got all these different skill sets, right? No, they're just ass. Like they're not well-rounded MMA fighters, right? Go watch the Kevin Natividad guys, the Kevin Natividad fight, guys. If you watch that fight, he towered over Kevin. Now, Kevin is a guy who was in the UFC at one point. I actually bet him once or twice. He turned out not to make it. It was, I thought he was a dog, and he is. The thing is, this Ryan guy towered over Kevin. He was light on his feet, quick jab. Like it was like, ooh, this is going to get nasty, but it didn't. Kevin stayed right in his face. Kevin was landing specifically left hooks on this guy at will. He drops his hands. He's very hittable. And Kevin was able to get him down on the ground a couple times. Ryan actually was able to muscle Kevin for a takedown a couple times, but he couldn't keep him there. It was impossible for him to actually hold Kevin down. Kevin got back up to his feet and was able to just kind of go to work on him. I got to tell you, that fight in its own told me this guy was a fraud. He won the fight against Kevin Natividad, Dan, and I was like, there's no way you're going to make it in the UFC. And I'm just going to say it right now. I think Ryan Kuse is a complete fraud. He'll go 0-2. The UFC won't even bother keeping him around as a resume buffer. Márcio Barbosa, 18-2, 28 years old. He's 1-0 off of Dana White's Contender Series. This is the guy that KO'd Denis Buzukja in his UFC debut, and it was nasty. He has vicious, brutal offensive power. I really, really like what I'm seeing from this guy. He's got 14 wins by KO in round 1. His 2 losses are also by knockout. There's not a whole lot of tape. He hasn't been in the cage a whole lot. It's nothing but power hooks, Dan. He's going to be extremely fun, and he hits really hard. But I want to point out specifically that left hook I saw land on Ryan Krause over and over and over again is the exact same left hook that this guy used to KO Dennis Buzukja. It's Barbosa, and it's Barbosa by knockout. The number is not friendly for betting, but I think there's a reason for that.
Yeah, we're priced out. It's your classic, round 1 or bust guy too, which is unfortunate. The round 2 fights are the ones he lost, granted to, decent names. You got Gabriel Santos in there. Not as familiar with Luis Felipe, but yeah, I'll keep this one shorter. The only fight I watched of Kuse just to get an idea for the show, to have something for the show, was that fight and against Natividad. And Clint, I had to stop and watch the result of go look up the result of the fight twice, going wait a minute, he wins this? I had to do that twice. Not just one. I did it twice. Doing it once is already a flag. I did it twice. I'm like, wait.
Are you sure?
Right? Yeah, he looks. Looking bad in victory, right? Looking worse than what your record may lead. You perfectly put there. I like Barbosa. I would love to be cheeky and go round 2. Maybe this guy can kind of weasel his way. Even though he's got bad optics, he looks like he can survive. Ryan Kuse does. So maybe a round 2 for something cheeky. If you're, if you're both dumb like me, but hopefully not as bad as luck like me, and you're playing round robins, you look for something cheeky like that, a round 2 at a bigger number. But nothing I really can give you guys with a serious straight face here.
Yeah, I'm with you there, man. They're going to price this out of the props too, but I really think Barbosa is going to win this thing by knockout and probably early too. Let's keep it rolling, man. Nasrat Haqparast taking on Chris Taco Padilla. Every time, man, I wish the show was on Tuesdays because it would be Taco Tuesday. Absolutely. You guys know I'm a fan of our boy Taco. He is 17-6-1, 30 years old. He is 4-0-1 in the UFC. He's coming off of that draw with MarQuel Mederos, who is also on this card. So we'll talk about Mederos here in just a little bit. A bit of context for that fight, Dan. I actually had a bet on MarQuel Mederos. He was my dog of the week that week, and I was beyond confident. I have been on the Taco train with him being an underdog the whole time, and I went, you know what? MarQuel Mederos is a real prospect. So this is my moment to jump off the Taco train, sell high when he's the favorite, and bet the underdog. Taco whooped this boy's ass. Taco put MarQuel Mederos on the back foot and put up 145 significant strikes on him in that fight. And somehow the judges scored it 2 rounds for Mederos instead of 2 rounds for Taco. He was doing the Matador thing and trying to avoid Taco coming in and land counter shots and stuff. And I don't understand, Dan, because even as the guy betting MarQuel Mederos, I was going, how is there any chance I win this fight? Well, guess what? I poke in round 3. Point is deducted from MarQuel Mederos. And I'm like, oh God, this is going to be 30-25s all across the board. It's a draw. I don't know how. I don't know why. I went back and I looked up the judges' scorecards, Dan. And again, everyone had it with Mederos winning, and then that eye poke foul makes it a draw. You look at the tapology, not the tapology, the MMA decisions website, everybody scored it for Taco. The only 2 people in existence who scored this fight for MarQuel Mederos were the 2 judges sitting cage side. The entire rest of the planet scored that fight for Taco Padilla. I got one of the luckiest bounces to get my money back on that bet, because even though I want to look at it and be like, well, if they didn't take the point, I straight up win. I looked at it as if I was in the casino, I would have already shredded the ticket. I would have lit the ticket on fire and been trying to find pieces of it to be able to go get my money back, because I was so sure I was cooked in that fight. Taco completely destroyed my expectations of him in that fight. As a guy who's been on him, I questioned him. But after the way he handled other fighters in the UFC, I don't know why I'm bothering to question him in the first place.
Straight shots here from Padilla. Look out for the elbows once he gets on top.
Bonfim has a very bully approach. In the second the bullying stopped, Padilla turned the tables.
That's over.
And now look,
He's got no energy.
He folded like a launch. He ran out of gas.
He broke him.
Oh, Padilla hammering away with the left.
Dan, he just never stops. That's Taco's whole thing. He gets in your face. He never stops. I love the way he uses elbows. I love the step-in elbow that he used that absolutely smashed Zhurong's face open. Like, this guy has just consistently been a dog, but it turns out he's an absolute savage, and he is a high IQ fighter. He does his homework. He has good game plans. It's time to respect him. Nasrat Haqparast is 30 years old. He is coming off of the brutal KO of the year with Quillian Salkild knocking this dude out with a head kick. It's his first fight back after that. Now, before that, he had back-to-back split decisions. One win, one loss, both very questionable. He had a 5-fight win streak, and in hindsight, honestly, Dan, it looks a little fraudulent. Like, these are UFC guys, but as far as being a contender goes, these are not names that you think of as contending, right? John McDessie, Lando Quinones, Jamie Malarkey, and then Gordon, who was very good but has fallen off of a cliff since, and then the Esteban Ribovics fight, which frankly I thought he lost. I felt like that split went the wrong direction. So we're talking a guy who at his best right now is going to split decisions with decent fighters, and he's a volume king. Really nice boxing, accurate hands, he's fast, and he does put up crazy volume. But I bet Taco in this spot, Dan. I got minus 105. The line immediately moved against me. I could have got plus 100 if I had hesitated just 15 minutes, but I got minus 105. That fight with Mederos showed me everything I needed to know, because Taco is more durable than Nasrat Haqparast. Taco hits harder than Nasrat Haqparast. And yes, I do concede that Nasrat has a speed advantage here, but if they're both going to be putting up 120, 130, 140 significant strikes, I have a feeling Nasrat's face is going to be the one that's a little worse for wear, trading that kind of high volume in this kind of a fight. So it's Taco Tuesday, baby. I like Taco Padilla. I'm going to war. I'm back on the train. I apologize for doubting you last time, Taco. I got away with my skin intact. I will take it. I've learned my lesson. We're going right back to the well here, man. What do you make of this fight, Dan?
Interesting. I'm actually with you on a lot of the setup where, like, I cashed Taco Padilla against, the round props too against Bonfim. That was nice. And then, jumped off the train though with Mederos. I thought I had for some reason I thought I had a read there, and that was just one of many times where, again, no bad beats or anything. Obviously, if anything, there was a good beat there. We'll talk about that, right? We talked about that, I should say. But I played him, and I got lucky there too, Clint. Again, I call balls and strikes. We just talked about that game. Like, think of a really bad robbery. Where was Dan Tom on the side of? Hey, I got saved there. But again, did I really, Clint? Because it's not like we won the bet. We just got our money back, which again we shouldn't have. But it's not like we got away. How bad did we get away with one there, right? And then again, if you zoom out, surprise, surprise, Dan Tom lost that card too. But not just that. You know what crux my card that I lost on that? My card was decided by a 10-unit swing. Just one of these would have been half, like 5 units, and would have got me to the win. But both, I had Hokit in round 2 and fight doesn't go the distance, and Josh Hokit versus Curtis Blades.
Oh, good Lord.
So again, how much breaks is Dan Tom really getting here? You know what I'm saying? And then you look on the other side of it, right? Just within one matchup, if we want to weigh the good beats versus the bad, that was the one good beat. I don't know how good it was. And then on the other side, we got the thing where we can totally play that game with Nasrat Haqparast, where his wins aren't great, and most of his wins shouldn't be wins. I was on Jared Gordon. You want to talk about splits that shouldn't have gone his way? That one was way more atrocious than the Ribovic one, in my opinion. It's just that Jared Gordon doesn't wear damage well, so you got that whole Dominic Cruz poison the well mentality where, they want damage, so it's just cuts. And it's just that whole complete misinformation of criteria that further confuses it. But that was a terrible one. And again, in fairness, calling balls and strikes, even though I had that same opinion as you, and many people I respect have that same opinion as you, that it could have gone to Ribovic. I will say, rewatching it, with emotions past and like nothing on the line, I don't think that was a bad decision. I think Ribovic just has a really strong end close to round 2. You know what I'm saying? But the point is, the resume not as great, and more specifically, it's the approach. I was a guy on Haqparast when he first came in, because I was like, dude, this is a pressure fighting southpaw. This was in the era where like Benny, Dariush, and Kelvin weren't washed yet. Like, we had like pressure fighting athletic southpaws. Now we got the mini Gastelum, And he goes with Faraz, which is a good camp, but unfortunately, they put him on the back foot. It's like his style should be front foot, right? He actually has like wrestling and grappling, and you don't see it from Nasrat's fights because his striking coach has him on the back foot. I hate that approach. It's made his fights. It's why he's not getting finishes. It's why his fights are close, regardless of what you think of him or if you agree with the result. I'm talking about the actual reasoning for it. It's because of his style. Now, he has been getting better, not just headhunting, going to the body, which is huge because when we go Southpaw records, if whoever was us saying, hey, we didn't go deep into the record for the other thing. I go deep into these records, boy. And Jason Gonzalez, who maybe you guys don't even recognize as a UFC name, much less a Southpaw, actually beat him on the regionals. He lit him up with the Southpaw stance. That was almost 10 years ago. But that is Chris Padilla's. You go look at Chris Padilla. He's only lost once by knockout. And I agree, he is the more durable guy here in this party. I agree with Clint. That was the Jason Gonzalez. And it was going to the body. And it's something that you got to do when guys are really tough and durable, like the Chris Padillas of the world, and they're pressuring you. You have to go to their body. It's something we just saw. We just saw with this card where a guy didn't go there enough, and when he did, he actually hurt him. And the commentators were talking about it. And you can be tough to your chin. It's very few people who are tough to the body, man. And the southpaw hits the liver side, and Nasrat snipes that with his southpaw liver kicks, front kick teeps. He's always mixing those in, which are going to be huge for a pressuring fighter. And his left hands, and he even uses elbows, right, when guys get close and nasty. Now, the problem is with Nasrat is he has tough round threes, right? So if you're on the Padilla side, and especially if you got plus money or you're missing the plus money now, like I would look at round 3 decision. I think you're still going to get plus money on that for Padilla. Clint, if you're in Clint's position, regardless of what number, and you're on the Padilla side, maybe you just do a little sprinkle on round 3, I think that's going to be live. I think that's going to be a very sketchy round. That being said, I actually am siding with Haqparast here. This was the Jalen Turner, Hernandez fight of the week for me. This is the same dynamic, not just because we have a southpaw, right, who opened as a favorite and is getting faded, right, which is Turner, which is Haqparast against the Hernandez didn't have as much fights to be the hot thing, but Chris Padilla definitely has that for whatever reason. It's the hotness of bettors, which is strange because he looks older than he is, and we know like most of you bettors out there are like you Scott Tarrant, like Jerry Sandusky, baby. You guys are like, oh no way, I don't like it, right? But he looks old. He's not even big for the division, but he is a good scrappy fighter. So again, good taste if you guys like Chris Taco. I think he's very live here, but we just saw him again. He could have made an argument that it went for Ribovic, but as a guy that bet Ribovic, I didn't think it was a bad decision. And I think Ribovic, albeit slightly, and again, who knows, maybe Padilla beats Ribovic if they match up. But as far as pressure fighters versus Nasrat goes, not head-to-head, not comparing them, but as far as pressure fighters go, if you pass the Ribovic test, I think you can pass the Padilla test. So I'm going to pick Nasrat, all that to say long-winded, but I'm not going to play him unless maybe it goes to plus money, and I might bless Clint's bet and everybody's bet, and I might bet Nasrat here. So that's what I got, Clint.
All right, so we are head-to-head here on this one, Dan. You love to see it. It happens from time to time. No biggie. It's a coin flip. It is what it is. I am definitely looking forward to this one. Next up, you guys, we are moving up the scales. Shamil Gaziev takes on Kennedy Nzechukwu. And Dan, this fight has my brain wrapped in knots, okay? Because Shamil, everybody's favorite volleyball player, is just such a freak athlete in there to start the fight. He's got Conor McGregor style cardio, man. He is a shell of himself the second he gets tired, and that's kind of bore out over his career. If he's bullying you, you are in trouble.
Peterson stayed on Jamal Pope's couch this camp. 2 former UFC opponents getting together, share knowledge, help one another improve. Oh! And that's it. Walk-off KO.
And that's every fight, Dan. He's got his mouth hanging open. He's just kind of sauntering forward. And if he gets in the right spot, he unloads hell. And that's all this dude does. We have seen him wrestle and grapple a little bit before. It speaks to just the level of ass that Don'Tale Mayes is, that he was able to out-hustle him on the mat and out-wrestle him. The cardio has been a bit of an issue for him. He's 4-4 in his 2-2 in his last 4 fights. He is coming off of back-to-back KO losses. So that big physicality thing, not really working for him once he get a bit of a step up here. Now, he's 36 years old. Kennedy, the much younger fighter, no. Don't be fooled, you guys. Kennedy's 34. He's not some 28-year-old prospect. Everyone's raving about Kennedy like he's a young man here. He's not. He's 34 years old. He's 2-1-1 so far at heavyweight. His only loss coming to Walter Walker by heel hook, which we're not going to hold that against him all that much. Decent pace, decent pop. He burns out grapplers. That's his whole thing. He's Homer Simpson. He likes to just outlast people, Dan. Kennedy has really good cardio. He's got nice striking. He's very long, good teep kicks down the middle. He likes to attack the body and work people. Once they get tired, he just pours it on. He just kind of snowball rolls downhill and cooks people with cardio. The problem is he's incredibly fragile, and we've seen that so far at 205 in his career. Now, you go back and you listen to his tape and stuff, Daniel Cormier raves about how Kennedy is just a new man up at heavyweight, Dan, and I ran the tape. I'm not so sure, because he fought Chris Barnett, who is on one leg, and realistically, if he was in shape, could be fighting at 155. Lukas Brzeski, who really isn't a UFC fighter. And then in his last fight, he went to a draw with Marcus Buchecha, who is the most disappointing prospect we've seen in the UFC in a very, very long time, who's 5-3-1 overall as a fighter and is getting cut because he's an embarrassment now that he's made it to the UFC level. So he has yet to fight a real striker at heavyweight. Frankly, Dan, he has yet to fight a real UFC heavyweight. The only one who you could count as being a real UFC heavyweight was Walter, and he got finished in under a minute. Now, granted, it was a bit gimmicky with the heel hook, but I'm just saying, we have yet to see Kennedy Nzechukwu truly tested at heavyweight in the UFC. We don't know if he can take shots from these guys. We don't know if that durability holds up. We don't know if his power translates, because all of these guys are bums. This is his first real tried and true test. Now, I think that Kennedy Nzechukwu is miles better technique-wise than his opponent here in this spot. He is faster. He's got height and reach. These are all things that I would want to bet Kennedy for. He's a plus 115 underdog. Shamil Gaziev is the minus 135 favorite. The problem for me, Dan, is you have to survive the first 2 rounds of Shamil Gaziev, and I don't know that Kennedy has the durability to do that. I am not convinced that he was fragile at 205 because of the weight cut. I think he's just chinny. So I think there's a very real possibility that Shamil Gaziev goes out there and plants Kennedy on his ass and shows everybody this buddy doesn't belong at heavyweight either. So I'm picking Shamil to win this fight. But we've got 2 craggly old heavyweights, one who's got power and bad cardio. I don't want to bet on him because of the bad cardio. The other one who's got a bad chin and great cardio, I don't want to bet on him because he's got a bad chin. This is a complete stay away fight for me, Dan. This is fireball and popcorn if I've ever seen it. I'm rooting for a finish. I hope somebody shows up and blows me away. But I also remember when Kennedy Nzechukwu got OSP, the shell, the ghost of OSP, served up on a silver platter to him, and he took him to a split decision and lost. Kennedy is not a man you want to trust your money with.
Yeah, I hear all that. I hear all that. I don't think we can judge the heavyweight move. And if anything, if I were a betting man, I'd be much more confident on betting that heavyweight's better for him. The fact that hearing the amount of weight he was cutting, saying that he was fighting dehydrated, we saw issues with his chin. So I want to see his chin. I think the chin is the only thing we haven't seen, and that's going to be the most determining factor to have an opinion, Clint, on that. Because frankly, he still looks good in the matchups he's supposed to look good in. And his problems have still been the same problems as far as like if we want to Occam razor it, where we go, who is he losing to? Either guys who can match his height parity, which we do have here, or guys who can grapple it, or both, right? If you Occam's razor, like the majority of his losses there, right? So we really haven't found out anything. And if anything, yeah, drawing with Marcus Buchecha or whatever, but like, dude, he was on the ground with Marcus Buchecha and got 10-8'd and was able to still survive, come back, and win the round, right? And now it was still a draw. We didn't win him the fight, but that means a lot, man. You know. And again, if we're talking about guys moving up, whether it's the heavyweight or a flyweight moving to bantamweight, it doesn't matter. What are you looking for? What are you expecting? I want to see it. I want to see either at least not worse, at least better cardio. And not worse, at least a better chin, right? Those are the main things you're looking for. And we've already seen one of those things. So I actually like the move to heavyweight. Heavyweight's one of the least skilled divisions. You're running into less athletes who can pop you. Now, Shamil Gaziev might not look like an athlete. He actually has deceptive speed and may actually be even a smidge faster, at least early than Kennedy, right? And like you played the clip Clint, he is 1-0 against UFC level lefties. That single shot knockout against Thomas Peterson. But again, not that he's a big jabber, but he loves using his lead hand. And like most orthodox fighters, when they face southpaws, they don't lose they lose their lead hand because they listen to fucking Daniel Cormier. Not literally, but you have guys like Daniel Cormier, who is a world champion and deserves respect, knows what he's talking about. However, DC's always like, oh yeah, you can't use a jab against a southpaw. Like, what are you talking about? Yes, you can. You're supposed to. And southpaws should be jabbing too. And he loses that. And you look at his output actually goes way down. Now, maybe that's good. Maybe we get a staring contest, right? Or something like that if you're looking for over angles. But even though I'm not just picking Nasrat in the last fight because he's 1-0 against the southpaw. I don't let the numbers determine it, right? I keep that same energy when I shit on stats, even when it comes to contextual, meaningful stats that I hunt down my own and that nobody else provides. I still keep the same energy with those folks. Just because it says 1-0 doesn't mean I'm picking him, or just because it says 0-1 in this case doesn't mean I'm picking against him. I actually like Kennedy from a betting perspective. As crazy as it is for a guy with my luck and this year of dogs hitting, and to pick this dog of all dogs this year, you of all people, Dan, why? Well, he opened as a favorite, and I believe that the odds makers got it right. And whenever you have a line flip, albeit small, when it does a 50, when it does a complete line flip like this, you don't owe an explanation to anybody to go to the book. This is MMA. Never be afraid to fade the public. Never be afraid to fade the public. We were just talking about that dynamic.
Ain't that the truth?
In the last one with the Jalen Turner and Carli Hernandez, right? Never be afraid to fade that. You laid it out perfectly when you were talking about that fight as far as the Turner side, Clint. So I actually do like Kennedy here. And even if you don't like Kennedy, I actually think round 3 and even submission is a cheeky look. I've only bet Kennedy by submission once, and that's when he got it at plus 1,000 against Devin Clark. Now, Devin Clark was a smaller guy who was going to put his head there. Shamil Gaziev has height parity. How could he? Well, if Shamil Gaziev is going to fight smart here, he's going to go for takedowns. And we've seen him do it against guys like even lower level guys like Dontel Mays to even better strikers where he's like, you know what? I'm not going to mess with this. I'm going to do that. However, we've also seen him in those fights in the past, and more relevantly in other fights against guys he really should be trying to take down, like Brandel Pericic there. He's not going for takedowns. He's going for them when it's too late. He's using it to kind of get a break as opposed to sticking to the game plan, father's plan, right? And I know he actually is a much better grappler than most heavyweights, and maybe all around, at least what's proven. Yeah, I would rate him as a slightly higher grappler than Kennedy Nzechukwu. That should be his path. However, guys, this guy was like a volleyball player, right? And he doesn't even look like a volleyball player. Like, if you look at his bio, Abdul Manap Nurmagomedov, who is like the godfather, right, of Khabib and Islam, and picked out all these guys. If you go to the UFC and read his bio, Shamil's, it says that he was scouted by Abdul Manap at a volleyball game. 1, Dagestan is a volleyball team, A, national volleyball team. B, Shamil Gaziev is on that team? C, what was Abdul Manap doing scouting? He's like the best wrestlers in the world. He's like, you know what, guys? Let me just go and scout a fat guy at the beach playing volleyball. 1 second. I think we got a real prospect here. Like, it doesn't make sense. I just picture that Top Gun scene, It is and I'm not saying this to denigrate. It is just literally the gayest scene in all of cinema. That Top Gun volleyball scene, right? With Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer. Like, how long partying with the boys? Like, imagine Shamil just in that. You have all these guys like ripped with 6-packs, and you have Shamil all just jiggling and sweaty.
This is what AI is for, right?
This is what we need, guys. Yes,
for these exact moments where you need
Shamil Top Gun
in the Top Gun volleyball scene.
And
that's why AI exists.
And then real quick, just quick shout out to my guys, Chronic Combat Conversations, Big Meal Shamil. Also, shout out to the love Andy G keeps giving me in the chat. I appreciate that. And I also agree with something Dirty Reg said earlier as far as the last fight we were breaking down. Probably should have been the co-main event. But yeah, for this one, give me Kennedy here. I may or might not play him if he's going above plus 115. I feel like I almost just, would have to play him again. I'm trying to be smarter this week, so we'll see. But I don't know. It's value for me is on Kennedy, but I get the Shamil side. I get the logic. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, we're in the same boat here, man, as far as I get it. You know what I mean? Like, on paper, he's the better everything. So, like, yeah, I maybe he should be the favorite, right? But I'm a never Kennedy guy at this point, and I need to see that he can survive heavyweight, because I remember when he got knocked out by Dawoon Jung, who, by the way, isn't in the UFC and hasn't been for a long time. through his guard. Dan, he literally had double elbows up. You guys go back and watch this clip.
So
it's
weird.
The most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I still, to this day, Dan, I cannot figure it out because Dawoon Jung does like a sideways elbow, and it's a forearm clash. They go forearm to forearm. There should be no force connecting with your head. And Kennedy drops his arms and goes, I've never seen anything like it. It's like the most delayed knockout of all time, and it's through a complete block. He didn't go around the guard. He didn't split the guard. It's straight to the forearms, and he still somehow hit him hard enough to knock him out. I'm never trusting Kennedy at heavyweight.
To your point, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to trust. We'll see how his durability goes. But just for the record, just so it doesn't look like I'm picking a dog to pick a dog, it's the southpaw striking. I see you replay this if it happens. It's the check right hook. Replay it if it happens. Check right hook. Kennedy and Nzechukwu. Let's go.
Love it, Dan. I love it because really, if he wins this fight, Shamil never touches him, and there's a real chance that happens. So I'm just gonna sit back and watch. Next up, Jamal Emmers takes on Lerryan Douglas, and you guys, right off the rip here, I got to show a couple clips for you.
Miranda to get back to that should do it, and it will. Pretty boy Jamal.
Body shot to a right cross for a highlight when this man lands. Jamal Emmers is nasty. But Dan, he's another one of these guys that I'm like, oh, he's a young prospect, right? I don't know what it is. His face looks like it's still pretty smooth. He's got that baby face thing going on. 37. Jamal Emmers is 37 years old, and he's never quite figured it out, Dan. He's been alternating wins and losses since 2020. He finally put back together back-to-back wins in his last two fights. It's the first time in his UFC professional career. He's never put back-to-back wins together in the UFC. It's insane. And the way they rave about this guy, like he's the next up-and-coming thing. Well, that door is already closed, Dan, because at 37 years old, he's not making a title run at this point. He had a shot way back in 2020 when they gave him Giga, and it was like, oh, shit, this dude's legit. Like, he had a very close back-and-forth fight with Giga Chikadze, and it was like, okay, now we're talking. He basically only knocks out fraud sense. He's got big power, tall frame, he's fast, he can wrestle, but he cannot put together a win streak. And I almost feel like him beating Hyder Amel by decision in his last fight was a fraud check. After watching what my boy C-Rod did to Hyder Amel, it's like, yeah, if you're real, you should be finishing Hyder. His wins have not aged well. Now, he's taking on Lerryan Douglas, who's new to the UFC, who's 31 years old. He is strongly in his prime, 14-5, 1-0 so far off Dana White's Contender Series, and what a 1-0 it was.
Already taken him off balance.
That's one way to disrupt the pressure of Cam Teague. He puts it away right there with that right hand. Fight. Oh my God. Winning quickly.
Dan, you want to see a dead body? That was his Dana White's Contender Series fight, you guys. 36 seconds. He left that man on the floor. They had to scrape him off the deck. Insane KO power. He is one of these Team Bloodline guys, and we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now. Team Bloodline is doing some things, Dan. So he's training with Cub Swanson. He's going to be the hometown fighter here, and I've made a note that I am buying on these Bloodline guys when I get the opportunity to. He's a hard-nosed pocket striker. He likes to stand right in front of you. He's got those nasty chopping calf kicks. He throws in combinations. He's got a great leaping in left hook, and he's got fantastic killer instinct. This dude is fast, Dan. So Lerryan Douglas, just 2 fights into his career. The number makes me a little uneasy. Just that whole veteran experience thing, that means something. It counts for something. But at the end of the day, I do think he deserves to be the favorite here because Emmers is just kind of a middle-of-the-road guy at this stage. But minus 410 is kind of hard to get my head around here, man. Lerryan Douglas, minus 410. The comeback on Jamal Emmers at plus 320. Under 1.5, minus 165. They are expecting a very early and very violent fight. This is one where I think I could be talked into an over potentially, kind of fading the narrative and looking at that plus money. But the amount of firepower on both sides of these guys, I do think you have to be very cautious about that. Nate Landwehr knocked out Jamal Emmers back in the day. He's been KO'd twice, actually. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if it happens. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Jamal wants to make this a little bit more technical and doesn't run the risk of that early KO loss.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that, man. It's like you want to like not get caught speeding by like overvaluing, the Cam Teague knockout and whatnot. But obviously, this dude's got it. If you've been watching him from his regionals, training with the Bloodline crew, who's been doing really well, even in defeat with my guy Richie Miranda, cashing that points handicap for me. Very, 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 very tough guys to work with over there. Yeah, I like Lerryan Douglas here. I actually have him in a parlay, a 3-legger. Oh, Dan, a 3-legger, really? Supposed to be being careful. Wait till you hear
This
what
week
it
you
is.
kind of got him, man.
Yeah, wait to hear what it is. And I actually have a 2-legger that pays the same thing, but I have a very good reason, which we'll get to in the main event, on why I don't want to go that route because I'm already got some exposure. So very coded. All that to say, parlay leg, parlay away, Lerryan Douglas.
Okay. All right. I like it, man. Lerryan Douglas, it is. Real quick, guys, I want to go ahead and give a shout out. It is Spectation Sports. You know what's up. We got guys in Dana White's Contender Series left and right coming up here on the Tuesday night shows. We had 2 of them win just last week. I know Abe Elsagir probably should have lost, but we're 2-0. So it is what it is. We will take the victory lap so far. Make sure you guys get tuned in. They are expanding. They are getting more and more regional shows under this platform. It is going to be a place where you want to be plugged in. And on top of that, if you need a place to watch the LFA prelims, well, it's the only place to watch the LFA prelims. So get signed up. I can help you out, you guys. Promo code DieHard will get you a 20% discount when you get signed up at Spectation Sports. So click that link. Get in there, tell them Clint sent you. And as always, please give them a follow on socials, you guys. Lots of fun KO clips and stuff like that. So it's not going to hurt. My man Dan is joining me. We are previewing UFC Sacramento, and we got a couple more fights to go. Dan, what are we doing here? We're talking Anthony Wint and Terrence Chapman. How did this fight get sanctioned? I truly do not understand. Running the tape on these guys, I am trying to be smarter. I am trying to be better. And I have retired the anchor. I almost pulled the anchor out of retirement for this one, Dan. I was ready to anchor Anthony freaking Wint because this man won on Dana White's Contender Series exactly 1 week ago. And he told Dana, I'm not leaving the room until you give me a fight. And Dana said, okay, bet. And they put him on this card 1 week later, which is absolutely insane. And nobody makes that kind of a turnaround. But this dude is 30 years old. He is insanely jacked. And he looks like Yoel Romero. This guy is like Yoel Romero and Francis Ngannou had a baby. Like he looks absolutely insane. He's a professional player, professional football player. Sorry about that. He was a collegiate standout. He went undrafted, but he played with the Jets. So he's on the good stuff. He's a monster of a human. And now that he is rounding out his actual like skills at MMA, first and foremost, Dan, his physicality is going to carry him a long way in MMA. It's going to take a while before somebody can just handle the physicality to actually get in there and expose any type of skill issues that he has. Well, if his skills can catch up by the time he runs into somebody that can handle him physically, he's going to be just fine. And he's going to go for a very, 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 very long time. Terrence Chapman, his opponent, is 5-1. And this is where on paper, they've made this look okay. Because apparently he knocked out the guy that went to a decision with or something like that. But guys, you look at his last couple of fights. Go back and look at some of the fights he's been in, and even especially like the fight that he lost by split decision against Dennis. This dude is slow. He is lumbering. He has his mouth hanging open after about 4 minutes of doing nothing. It's all one-hitter quitter shots. He doesn't throw like big combos or anything like that. He's got power. Don't get me wrong. But this is like your uncle who won't take his shirt off when he gets in the pool. Like this is a big old flabby-ass fat dude who belongs nowhere near the UFC level. I know the UFC is hurting for these big boys. And I know some people are like, he's decent. he's decent, but he's not UFC caliber. Like that's what this comes down to for me, Dan, is I don't know why he's literally just being brought in here, I think, to make this guy look good. This is going to be brutal, you guys. It's going to be like a first punch Wint wins type of situation. The only reason I don't want to bet the under half around is because sometimes Terrence Chapman stands and like stalks people. I have seen him go 3.5 minutes in a fight before he threw a single strike, Dan. He's so low volume that if Anthony doesn't come charging in guns blazing, we could go 2 minutes with literally nothing happening. As soon as Anthony Wint decides it's go time, this fight is over.
Yeah. I think under 1.5 is a good parlay piece if you don't have my mush for like mushing fights to go inside the distance. So I'd be all over that. But because of my luck recently, dating back to that Abu Dhabi card where it was like, or there was a card where it was like, I think it was like it was like 10 out of 12 finishes, right? Yeah. You bet I was on one of them that didn't finish. That cost me, of course, right? Again, that's why I talk about like we all get hit by this stuff, but again, disproportionate. But yeah, no, for this fight, this is gonna suck. And I called this. This is, I said the best prediction on Wint is that they're gonna give him gimme fights. They're gonna force it on main cards that don't belong there with people that he doesn't belong against, and he's gonna basically get a free $100,000. And we're going to learn absolutely nothing about an athlete like all these athletes who've just been fucking curtailed to their whole life since high school, and they don't really face real adversity, and they're going, really quick, explosive plays, but I'm already getting a hate because you can't talk about. It's like worse than religion. Well, you can't talk about football like that. It's America. Beer, wings, pizza, football. Buffalo Wings. Like I was gonna get that whole crowd's gonna come at me because I said something, but I actually like football. I have a lot of respect for it. One of the coolest jobs in football would be a defensive coordinator. I can nerd out about it, but fighting is different, folks. Fighting is different. I've done it all my life. I've covered it. I've seen it I've seen it in the gym. I've seen it on the high levels. It's the same story. Fighting is a different gear. You can have all the on-paper stuff in the world, all the muscles, all this. It is a different thing. You either have it or you don't, and we don't know enough about Wint yet. Now, for what it's worth, even a hater who I would just like to say is maybe just not a hater, maybe it's the only realist who doesn't like just jerk off over every like football athlete that comes to the door, which, by the way, the best person in this category is Brendan Schaub. Checks notes. So everybody pumping like to defend this category, like, okay, well, that category, the best person that has produced is Brendan Schaub. Brock Lesnar. Oh, we're going to pretend that Brock Lesnar didn't wrestle? We're going to pretend that
CTE is the best base for MMA, Dan.
Yeah. Josh Hokett. Oh, Josh Hokett's an actual athlete. He actually wrestled. You know what I'm saying? He was a combat athlete. This guy is a real athlete. And Wint actually, even me being a hater, I actually put him on the upside as far as like guys that could do stuff. So I'm not saying that he can't, folks. I'm saying slow the F down because we don't know nothing. We didn't learn nothing last time, and we ain't going to learn nothing this time. And all we're going to do is basically just be killing time for the broadcast rights. And, another cater to athlete gets to get, which is, by the way, this is only going to hurt him. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys don't hit enough adversity, man. And we'll see what happens when he hits adversity, but this ain't going to be it.
For sure. I love that angle, Dan. And the moment that fighters finally hit adversity, I mean, usually the first time they end up crumbling. Look at Bo Nickel. Like, that's as soon as these guys stop being fed perfect opponents. Look at Sean O'Malley. The first time he got hit with a big old leg kick, like these guys crumple under the pressure that first time. They got to learn that lesson. I think that'll happen for Wint too. It's just going to take a while because most people won't be able to get past the shoulders and those traps.
By the way, I already triggered somebody because now I'm saying Brittany Mahomes says they'll submit me in 30 seconds. You better be really good, man. Even me washed at 40. I've been grappling probably as long as you've been alive. So keep that energy.
I gotta love it. The old dog's got some jujitsu here, man. Let's go. Carli Judice takes on Jeisla Chaves. We are headed to some women's MMA action, you guys. And Tapology, this card got moved up, Dan. This was supposed to be one of the prelim cards. This was early in the evening for us. And now here we are on the main event. And that is music to my ear holes as a crispy Carli Judice fan, my man, because we know what this woman is capable of. Carli Judice is a murderer, you guys. Oh, you know what? Real quick. I'm sorry. I'm going to rewind just one sec. I forgot to play you guys the clip. You got to see Anthony Wint's KO from Dana White's Contender Series that got him the shot here, you guys. I went and got it for you.
Remember, both of these guys have a wrestling base.
Oh man, Wint is teeing off here. This is.
Oh, he's pounding the leg.
Gotta watch it back in the air. These are nasty shots.
Like taking a break from punching this dude in the face to scream at him because he doesn't want to get up. He's a psychopath. Okay, anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Back to Crispy Carli Judice.
Yes.
You guys know I love me some Crispy here. She's 27 years old, 3-1 so far in the UFC. On Dana White's Contender Series, she dropped that split against Karakate. She dropped her UFC debut by split against Gabriela Hernandez. You know, one of these things where these fights are close, they are tough. She's fighting really good people. Your debut against Hernandez is really no joke. And now they were like, okay, let's give her a little bit of rope. She rattles off 3 straight wins in a row. Easy peasy. This girl is good. She just needs a little bit of time to develop. She is very athletic, tall and long. She's really fast. She knows how to use her reach when she's striking. She's got a nice left side kick. She rolls well with the punches, and she hit that absolutely gorgeous knee to the body to cash my inside the distance prop in round 3. That last finish that she got.
Come to the body lock, trying to trip her. But I mean, right now she's getting.
I love this girl. I love this girl. Dan, I'm sitting here going, of course. Why did I bet a women's fighter inside the distance at like -120? Of course she was going to win a decision. And then round 3 comes around and she hits her right in the gut and gets it for me. I'm like, that's what's up. That's my girl. So yeah, we're Carli Judice fans over here. Jeisla Chaves is 7-0. She's 29 years old. This is her debut off Dana White's Contender Series. She won a split decision over Sofia Montenegro. She was a +200 underdog that night, Dan. And I do apologize. She won her debut. This is her second fight in the UFC. She won her debut against Yanasi Dubin. Again, by split. This is where MMA math comes into play, Dan. And we all know MMA math never, ever works. But Carli Judice head kicked Yancy Dubin to hell. This girl fought tooth and nail with her and went to a split decision in a very close back and forth fight. Now, while she impressed me, she was a dog on Dana White's Contender Series. She scraped and clawed in that fight as a +200 coming through. I like the way she clinches. I love her Muay Thai. She has good elbows. I like her footwork. She fades out of range really well. Like, everything I saw was good from her. She showed good heart. She showed good cardio. She fought Dubin, and I was like, ooh, like that's a bad look. And now she's getting the big step up against my girl Crispy. Yeah, this is one-way traffic for me here, Dan. The second leg of my parlay. If you guys remember, I told you way long ever forever ago, I parlayed Jackson McVey the Moose. Leg 2, Carli Judice. She's a -500 favorite, and I'm going money line because I could see this being a back and forth fight. I could see this being a decision. I could see this being more technical. I don't think she's just going to run Jeisla Chaves over the way she has some of these girls. So I'm actually predicting the decision here as opposed to the finish, but I still got to roll with my girl Carli Judice. What about you?
I love it, man. I love it. You got another leg you're adding to that later, or is it a 2-leg? You're getting your money
-122, man. 2 legs.
Get it. Just get it. Yeah,
legs.
grab it. Nice. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
Lucky knee. Lucky for me, yeah, but that was pure skill from my girl Crispy. If you better be saying it was lucky for me, because it was lucky for me.
It wasn't lucky for us though, Clint, because if you look at what card took place, we both got crushed by the same thing, and I'm not going to talk about that fight. I didn't anchor it, and I still got crushed, right? But which is annoying because what I did hit was I parlayed Judice round 3 with Croup by sub for +3,400 and cashed that bad boy.
Beautiful.
It wouldn't have mattered because I still would have lost on my official, but it was annoying too. I actually misinputted it, and because I'm just such an honest guy, and that pays off really well in this space, I just ate the shorter number on it. But no, I got the bet slips for that bad boy, and that was a really nice one. So thank you. That was a positive memory. We won't talk about the rest of the card.
Let's keep those going. Let's keep those going.
That was a positive memory, so that was really nice. And I will join, and I will keep it going with you on the parlay. The Judice is going to be my leg number 2 again. I got a 3-leg here, unfortunately, but I have good reason. Again, I suck. I will get things wrong, but I have good reasoning going in. You can't not say that about me. So I'll give it to you guys shortly here.
All right. I love it. Hey, we are coming off a week where some really big, really unexpected underdogs hit, Dan. I am curious if that trend is going to continue or not. This card is tempting fate because we have a 10-1 favorite. We have a 9-1 favorite. We have a 7.5-1 favorite. We've got a 5-1 favorite. I mean, this card is chalk city. And after we had plus 250, plus 500, plus 800, like these big ass underdogs came through, it will be very, very interesting to see whether or not that trend is something that continues. I'm very much looking forward to this fight. I think Crispy is legit. I think Carli Judice is going to be in the contender circle very, very soon. So I love this fight, and I'm going to rock with her even at the big price tag. Nice. Next up, you've got MarQuel Mederos taking on Mason Jones. Okay, we touched on this, Dan. We touched on this a little bit earlier with MarQuel Mederos, my boy. I talked him up, okay? He's fighting out of the MMA lab here in Arizona, which you guys know I love. He has kind of a matador type of style. He likes to move backwards. He likes to get you kind of coming in, and then he'll pull you in and then counter in those moments. He'll crash that pocket, knees and elbows, especially knees to the body, big step in, right? He does have that Factory X Muay Thai history before he moved over to the lab. I kind of feel like you're going to get that powerful crossing of the streams of high-level striker who went to a really strong grappling gym that's going to learn that counter grappling and then just be better because he can do both now. I think this kid is really in for being a big deal. 3-0-1 so far off Dana White's Contender Series. I love his feints. I love the calf kicks. He uses such a wide variety of strikes. I love his offense. You're never really sure what's going to be coming after you. And then he rolls well with punches too. Good head movement, always attacks the body. I'm a fan. Okay, I made that very clear already. Mason Jones, 18-2. He's 31 years old. He's 3-0 so far, back from his stint over on the regionals again. If you guys remember, Mason Jones had a run in the UFC, and for whatever reason, instead of re-signing with the UFC, literally chose to go back to the regionals and went back to Cage Warriors. He got beat by Ludovit Klein of all people. And then he went and put together a 4-fight win streak and was like, all right, I'll come back. The UFC throws him a softball against Jared Mee Stevens. Then he gets Balaji Oki. And frankly, Dan, it looked like he was dead against Balaji Oki. Oki hurt him bad early in that fight and was really controlling that thing. And then he turns that fight on its head in round 2, comes back, finishes him, and in dominating fashion too. Some of the most vicious ground and pound you'll ever see. And in his last fight, just walked Axel Sola down. If there's anything you can say about Mason Jones, it's like this guy is a marauder. They talk about his improvements though, and I'll be honest, Dan, now I'm the untrained eye here, right? I'm not seeing him. He looks exactly the same as the guy who left to go get more regional experience. Now, don't get me wrong. I am sure, like if you ask his coaches, I'm sure there's a list of 10 things he's gotten really good at since he took that break. But the way he fights, nothing has changed. He walks face first into people's punches, and it's not until he gets hit with a shot that makes him go, oh shit. Then he realizes maybe I shouldn't do that. I am shocked this guy hasn't been knocked out yet. I really am. I thought Oki was going to be the one to do it. You can't question his heart. He pulled that thing out, blood and guts, wrestled his way back into that fight, and he ended it. So it's always good that he can shift gears and take it to the ground if he needs to. I think this is the spot where the fun train ends, Dan, because he's taking on Mederos. Yes, Mederos doesn't like being put on the back foot, and we saw that in the Taco Padilla fight. He's going to have to fight that way in this spot, and I think he's comfortable there at least. But Mason Jones is going to do nothing but come forward, and then he's going to look to wrestle. So I think MarQuel Mederos can shuck some takedowns here. And then on the feet, I think he will play the matador. He will be able to counter a guy like Mason Jones when he's coming in recklessly the way that he does. The fact that Mason Jones doesn't ever shift gears until he's already been hurt, this is the spot where I think he's going to figure out that you can't play it that way because it might be too late. If MarQuel Mederos hurts him on the feet the first time he comes in, I don't know that he's going to get a second shot. I don't know that he's going to have an opportunity to recover. So I think there's a very real possibility that MarQuel Mederos is the guy who knocks out Mason Jones in this spot. And I think he's the parlay buster of the week. He's plus 220. I'm sitting and I'm watching, man, because I know Mason Jones is a big-time fan favorite. There's a lot of people that love this guy. I've been waiting for opportunities to fade him, and I've been very careful because he is good. Don't get me wrong. He's cost me his last couple of fights trying to get on the other side of him. I think this might be the one.
You know what? I think it might be too. You know why? It'll be a parlay buster.
Why is that?
because I'm thinking about parlaying him. Yeah, and now I'm gonna get talked off, and he's either gonna cash or I'm gonna bet, and he's gonna fail. That's what's gonna happen, right? Now I didn't bet it yet, but if you were to parlay Jones, Judice, and Lerryan Douglas, that is plus money. Now you could go other ways about it to try to find it, like maybe like an under, maybe replace one of those legs with the under in the Wint fight or something, you know, maybe this leg with it would be better. But again, my luck with unders. And the other under I was looking at was, we'll get to the main event, but was the main event, but I'm already exposed, which I'll get to what I'm already exposed on over there. So do I really want to be exposed more? And again, my luck with unders. So that's why this one is looking most likely to me, right? Because I'm not trying to play the minus 600s and the minus 1100s, because boy, I'm so nervous being against you, Clint. Not because we're buddies or I respect you and all that, although those play into it. What it is, it's a weird woo-woo thing where, like, and I've told you this before, but like, and again, I said, like, you know, go look at any bad beats, see where I'm at. I'll tell you this much. Live, here's how you can tell where Dan Tom's at. If you hear the commentators say, this person is fighting the best fight of their career, they've never looked this good. I know you guys you've been there too. We've all been there, right?
Absolutely.
But you're like, oh, of course he's doing it when I bet against him, right? Yeah.
It's like the kicker's curse in football. As soon as they read the stats off and they're like, he is 32-0 from this distance.
Oh, no.
It went left.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. There's that. And then I will say, when you do the bullet dodge ones, I don't know what it is. I have like a 90% hit rate. Whenever you post your matrix bullet dodge, I'm just like, no, I got hit. I'm hit. I'm going down. And same with
for me, Dan, with the volume, that's the key for me, is identifying the trap spots where I used to, you know, it's like you got a bear trap right by my hand, and I'm trying to hit it fast enough to get my hand back. Yeah. I'm getting better at just being like, you know what, just leave the fucking bear trap alone. Like, just walk away.
Yeah. But Mason Jones is one of the guys I like, and I would argue I've been proven right? And if I were to analyze that, you know, you could argue that it's either, okay, well, am I riding my positive bias? And for your side, you got to ask yourself, okay, is this just one of those guys I'm fading, and I'm betting emotionally here, just trying to fade because I think I got it and I don't, you know, and we've all done that. And sometimes we get it right and we still get it wrong, right? Like I did with Yoel Alvarez, where I called it right and then I still fall into the trap like an idiot, right? So I get it. I've been on all sides of the thing, right? And I'm no better here. But, you know, this might be one of those spots. So maybe I wait and see. So one of my things I'm waiting and seeing on as well is what I could get with a Mason Jones round 3 decision. That's what I cashed last time against Axel Sola. I'm not sure how much of a discount it could be. I'm not expecting any plus money, but if that's playable straight chalk, then maybe I just do that if I really want to invest in Mason Jones. I don't have him tied in to a parlay and I find another way. But the parlay I'm thinking about would be that parlay, the Judice, Lerryan Douglas, and Jones. You could go PRP style, they add Dyer and Wint to the second, or something like, or Dyer and Barbosa for like plus 162, right? And then throw Wint's under in there, it's plus 200. You know, you could PRP that way if you want, folks, or make a combination, mix it up if you will. But I got Mason Jones here.
Okay. And I don't mind it, Dan. This is one of those ones where, like you said, you've been proven correct on him. If you've been betting on him and he's put money in your pocket, ride that to the bank. Like, even if the wheels fall off, even if this is the one where it finally does lose, like, again, not overall record wise, but like that fighter, it's like me with Dricus Duplessis. I'm not going to stop hitting the button because I've hit the button every time and it's paid off every damn time. The once or twice it doesn't matter because I'm 4-2 or I'm 5-2. You know what I mean? So ride your guy. That makes absolute perfect sense to me. Don't let me talk you off it because I have been wrong about Mason Jones until this point. And we'll see. This all comes down to it's a streams crossing situation. It's because I think Mason Jones is overrated, but I also am high on Mederos. And that's where it's like the perfect combo for me here. Plus it's a big number, plus 220. Like how do I say no when I'm high on the kid and I'm getting a fat, juicy plus 220? If it was plus 115, I'd be a lot less interested. So we'll see what happens here. Let's keep it going, you guys. Please hit that like button for us. We got over 250 live across all platforms. It is RDR season again, Dan. It's been too long since my boy Ryder the Ritter was in the cage. He's taking on Roman Dolidze. And it's an interesting fight because these boys are moving back up to 205. Not one of them, both of them. RDR is a huge man at 185 pounds, you guys. I mean, absolutely massive.
He's hurt. He seems hurt. Bo's hurt. He's taking a lot of shots there.
How about this from Reinier to Ritter? A new skill set. Knee to the body. Crumbles Bo Nickel. Undefeated.
One of my favorite KOs of all time, Dan. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. I'm a bit of a Bo Nickel hater. So my boy RDR kneeing him in the gut to put him down like that was just so satisfying. But so he's a big dude at 185, but he is also very old. He's 36 years old. He's had a lifetime of martial arts outside the UFC before he got here. He's 21-4. So it's just a lot of experience, a lot of wear and tear on the body. And Dan, he was crazy active in 2025. Okay.
Yeah.
He kept cutting weight. It's a hard cut for him, and he had 4 fights in 2025. Honestly, insane that he tried to keep that kind of a pace at 34, 35 years of age, cutting the amount of weight that he does. So he was trying to make a title run. He got into the UFC. He's mauling people left and right. Looks like $1 million. I'm cashing tickets. But then he runs into Brendan Allen, who's got good cardio and good wrestling. And that was all it took. Too much weight cut, too much time in the cage, and he quit on the stool, which, by the way, was definitely embarrassing, having a big play on him and then watching him hang it up between rounds after getting cardio deathed and gassed. He said there were things that, went wrong with the weight cut. No shit. He had like health concerns, but then he turns around and he fights again shortly thereafter. Now, he went to war with Kaio. It was mostly a standing fight, kind of a bad fight for him, a guy with good takedown defense and really good striking, not a good matchup, but he did some damage on the feet in that fight too. Kaio's face got all busted up. Like, you can't count out Reinier de Ritter. He is good everywhere. His striking is very awkward. It's very herky-jerky, but as we showed with the Bo Nickel knee, it's very effective. He's got that Muay Thai in close. He does hit hard, but he's a finisher, and he's mostly a grappler. Roman Dolidze has been fighting at 185 for years now. He was a big man at 205. I never thought he could make 185, and I was shocked. It looked like he took Ozempic the way he cut down to 185. He got skinny, and he got skinny in a hurry, man. This dude used to have piles of muscle on him. So it's going to be interesting to see him moving back up to 205. He went title hunting at 185, and the fact is, Dan, he just doesn't have the skill set. He's a big, lumbering power striker who's low volume and then has really good jiu-jitsu, but no wrestling. He wants to play off of his back. Every single fight, he goes to his back, and he does the thing where he's like waving you down into his guard. It's like, no, you idiot. Nobody's going to jump in your guard for you. Everyone's going to make you stand up and fight. Well, here he is, 38 years old. The run is over. He's going to take a couple of checks. He's going to hang around. He'll finish a couple of young guys, but he's mostly going to be a punching bag at this point. He's on a 2-fight skid. He lost to CLD and Fluffy, so the contenders are just killing this guy at this point. He does have that dangerous BJJ, like I mentioned, but like you look back on some of his fights, Holland blew a rib out. Jack Hermanson got his leg trapped. Hawes blew his knee. Like, these are some of the victories that this guy is getting. And I know you can credit some of those wins to how big and physical and strong a guy like Dolidze is, but they are still kind of like fluky injuries to be happening for victories that I don't see continuing up at 205 pounds. This is a perfect opportunity for RDR to transition from 185 to 205 because he's still technically just fighting another 185er. It's like these guys are in the same weight class. They're just agreeing, we're not cutting weight today, buddy. That's how this fight looks to me on paper. RDR is minus 375. And while I am an RDR guy, I've been playing him at even money. I've been playing him at plus money. Yep. I'm going to channel my inner Liam picks fights here and be like, the number decides everything here. I'm picking him to win, but I've got a really, really hard time laying minus 375. Now, you guys know me. I burned a unit on Jillian Robertson last week because she's my girl, because we got the hat, because it was her title opportunity. I might do some kind of 2-legger parlay, and Reinier de Ritter will find his way onto my card, mostly because A, I think he's winning, and B, he's my boy. So I think I might end up with a little something on him, but it's not going to be like a nuke. This is not a drop the missile type of moment here. Reinier at 205 is a bit of an unknown. He got knocked out at 205 or at heavyweight when he took a short notice fight up a weight class, I think, before he got over to the UFC. I'm not sure what to expect from him. I do think the cardio will be better, but he's kind of a skinny guy. So, like, I don't know if he'll be able to take down Roman. The thing is, I think Roman will accept bottom. So if Reinier wants to wrestle, Roman will happily engage. And I think that's how he finds his way to top position. But if Roman really was like, no, fuck you, we're not grappling today, and shucked takedowns, I don't know if Reinier de Ritter's strong enough to actually take him down. So big question mark in this fight, Dan. Big question mark. I do think Reinier wins. It's probably a decision because unless you're Fluffy Hernandez gassing Roman Dolidze out in the deep, deep rounds, you're not finishing this guy. Nobody finishes Roman Dolidze. So I think it's RDR by decision.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. By the way, Southpaw stats here. Dolidze is 2-1 against UFC level lefties. However, 2 of those sample size, a win and a loss, is against Marvin Vettori. The second one against a wash Marvin Vettori, where they basically had the same exchange over and over again. And that's the one he won. And then the other is Kyle Dawkins, who I like Kyle Dawkins, but that knockout, was against Kyle Dawkins, and it came in round 1, and it came in the clinch with a knee, right, where he cracked his face with the orbital. And there was also there was a really bad clash of heads that no one ever really talks about when breaking down that fight that led to that. Like, credit to Dawkins, he probably should have went out sooner. So there was a lot of stuff that goes along with that. So again, 2-1's a winning record against Southpaws, but not an impressive 2-1 when you break down the context and you actually look at the tape, right? Mm-hmm. And if anybody is going to be winning the clinch, much less throwing knees in the clinch, you bet it's RDR. And that was a great one against Bo Nickel. No disrespect to Bo Nickel, but that was a really a good hit. I was very proud of. I had inside the distance and KO as well. I thought he was going to be able to get the KO there, specifically RDR. This one, I do think it's a decision, and I didn't mention it in the parlay because I'm like you. I feel like, again, it's a similar dynamic, except Mederos is way better than Dolidze, so that's disrespectful from that end. But as far as if I'm betting on Mason Jones or Reinier de Ridder, I'm betting on a pressure fighter with porous defense, right? It's the same, and if de Ridder loses, it's the same way that probably like you laid out how Jones loses, right, Clint, where he's going to get caught with something, right? The defense is going to finally catch him in the butt. The difference is I'm paying almost half the price with Jones as compared to 4-1 or something with RDR, at least on my books that I'm seeing right now. So that takes him out of the parlay. But if you find something to parlay with, maybe he does. And I agree with it going to decisions. Let me ask you, Clint, why not parlay within the same game a little SGP? I am curious what RDR and the over in the fight, even though it's a 2.5, which makes sense. I'm just greedy because I would want a more secure shot at a 1.5. But even at the 2.5, which you could play straight, it's minus 135, right? You could play that straight if you like and not even have to worry about a side. But maybe you add RDR in it. Now maybe you're looking at more plus money, even money. I'm not sure, but you guys might. There's food for thought for anybody that wants action in the RDR side, like you said.
Yeah, SGPs are weird for me, man. I'll be honest with you. I've never quite gotten the hang of them in MMA. And for me, it's like if you're gonna go, I guess if you're getting even money for RDR and an over 1.5, I guess that does kind of make some sense. I would lean more towards just taking the over 2.5 at minus 145. Minus 145 is a bettable number. And then if RDR shits the bed and this ends up being a split decision where it's low volume and it's on the feet and it's like the Whitaker fight where you're not really sure at the end of it, fuck the same game parlay. Just give me the over 2.5. That might be the way I play it, frankly, man.
Yeah. I'm seeing minus 135, which is more than playable chalk for my taste. Again, your guys' tastes are different. Your mileage might vary, but I think over angles is the angle there. I think that's what we're agreeing on.
Over makes a lot of sense to me here. Boomer in the chat. You missed it. It was early in the show, my friend. Stan Dorsainvil is my dog of the week. We are fading. Gage Young makes me a little bit sad, but that is the Link Memorial dog of the week. And Brittany Mahomes now coming after me saying, Clint, I'd armbar you. And you know what?
He's going to get us both. He's going to get us both before the end of the show.
Maybe you would. But I got to tell you, I'm going to make you work for it. And you are going to tell horror stories after I am done with you. Because my fat ass under this shirt is hairy as it gets. And I will start sweating in about 15 minutes. I am going to go crucifix position on
I don't want to grapple
and I will
now.
rub my hairy ass belly all over your face. You will get that armbar, but you're gonna earn it, boy. That's how this is gonna go.
I never had an opinion about wanting to grapple you, but now I don't want to grapple you. You just sold me.
I know all the fat man dirty tricks. You got to do what you got to do when you're built like that.
I didn't want to before. Now I really don't want to.
Oh my Lord. All right. Serghei Spivac takes on Vitor Petrino in our co-main event of the evening. This is one of those co-main events, guys, where I feel like we are very specifically highlighting one person here. Serghei Spivac has been around in the UFC for a long time, and it feels like he's old news. He's had his shot. You know what I mean? He's still just 31 years old, which is very young at heavyweight. This is a guy that still could be around for like a very, very long time, but he's doing the alternating wins and losses thing again, right? Like he'll piece two here together, right? That kind of thing. His boxing still looks like it's decent. He's coming off that win over Ante Delia. So there's a certain level of heavyweight that he's still going to beat. But like you go back and he was losing that fight against Marcin Tybura, and one of the flukiest arm bars of all time ever catches Marcin Tybura sleeping for just 1 second early in round one to get that win. His last win before that was Derek freaking Lewis. So he's beating guys coming from the PFL. He's beating ancient fighters that are going to be off the record. He beat Greg Hardy back in the day, right? Serghei Spivac's spam grappling is just kind of old news at this point. He's been figured out. He doesn't have power. So even though his boxing is decent on the feet, he doesn't have power. He's not going to get the respect at heavyweight. He doesn't hit hard enough. He's a guy who I really feel like is just kind of not long for the contender circle. If they drop him down a level, he probably has some longevity, but this guy's being thrown to the wolves here because boy, does the UFC love the freak show. Vitor Petrino is a big, big, powerful man. 14-2, 28 years old. I feel like he got fraud checked at 205, Dan. I really did. The loss to Anthony Smith via guillotine. I called that one and then didn't have the balls to pull the trigger on it because Anthony Smith was just so shot. It was one of those ones where I did the whole, if this was 2 years ago, I'd have already clicked. But because he's so old and busted at this point, I don't know if I can get there type of thing. But I told everyone to watch out for the sub, and sure enough, he gets it. And then that Dustin Jacoby knockout in round 3, we've seen where Dustin Jacoby has been recently. The fact that that fight went long and Dustin got the better of Vitor Petrino, yeah, that's a problem. Well, he decides, you know what? It's probably a weight cut issue. And frankly, Dan, I believe this one, that it was a weight cut issue. This dude went up to heavyweight and he looks like William Knight now. His body sucked up every single nutrient that he gave it. He looks like a balloon. He can't touch his hands together, Dan. Like, he's got so much muscle. He's the dude trying, like, squeezing, trying to do this. Can't get his fingers to each other. This dude is massive. He's coming off a decision win over Steve Asplund. We all know Concrete. We love the guy. He's pretty technical. He's a decent striker, but he's also a very good grappler. You know, with his ground game, it's all explosion. It's big double legs, blast, take you down. But if he gets a hold of your arm, he's just going to rip the damn thing off. Ain't nobody defending a choke or a squeeze from Vitor Petrino. So you got to watch out if this guy gets you on the ground. He also just really loves working with his hands. The fight with Thomas Peterson actually was one that made me kind of gain some respect for him here at heavyweight, because Thomas Peterson puts a pace on people. And the fact that that was a high-paced fight back and forth, we get into the third round, and this guy still has the wherewithal, the speed, and the accuracy to dead a guy who's tough like Thomas Peterson in the third round. That spoke volumes to me. I think Vitor Petrino at heavyweight is legit where he was probably not at 205. And I think Serghei Spivac is kind of cooked, man, if I'm being honest with you. I am a little surprised. This one might be the one where I am falling for the trap, because Petrino is minus 170. Serghei Spivac is plus 140. And this line is a lot closer than I would expect it to be. I know Serghei's been up and down, and Vitor has been laying highlights out there on people right now. But I feel like this is kind of new versus old. And even though Serghei Spivac is a younger guy, he's the old news at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah, so the line actually makes sense to me, because even though we came at the same result, spoiler alert, I actually have different opinions on the fighters, even though we came to the same result, if that makes sense. And if it doesn't, I'll just quickly explain, is that I feel like Petrino, although I'm picking him to win here, and I think he wins, I think he presents the athleticism and explosiveness that it's kind of like tripped out and made Spivac lose fights before he's even stepped in there. Even fights he was probably going to lose anyways, like against, Cyril Gahn. But that fight, like, it was one of those times. I don't say this that often, but I'm just like, oh, this guy looks like he's going to lose. He's already lost when he's walking out. And Serghei Spivac did not look like he was going to win that fight, even walking out for that one. And you'll see him like collapse, which is frustrating, because the reason why I say I have different opinions, even though I'm not picking Serghei, I'm a big fan of Serghei. I think he's much better than people give him credit for. And his skill set at heavyweight is great when he can use it. He's got the cheat code. He's one of the few who can grapple and has takedowns, right? So you get me Serghei against the Greg Hardys of the world, I'm all over that. Tai Tuivasa or the was it Sakai round 2? I think I cashed on my near a birthday card, if I remember that correctly, in 2022. Spivac, man, round 2, all this, he's been great for those things. Just the problem is when whether you want to say the level steps up, or in my opinion, again, it's guys who kind of have some athletic umph and some real bite back to them a lot of the times too. He seems to kind of falter, man. And if this were in the small cage, I would be looking. I'd maybe even be taking a cheeky shot on Spivac, a pick or a play or both, maybe. But the fact that it's not, and Petrino has been showing improvements, I will go with Petrino. But the thing about Petrino is, even though heavyweight may end up being a better weight division for him, right? I'm not against that. I think he's been doing okay, but he just feels like he's walking a fine line where, like, you ever get that, Clint, where you're like, this guy can break, or I think this about this fighter, and they prove you wrong a couple times, and you still think it's there, but you don't want to be stubborn, right? You're like, what am I going to do? Keep betting with my heart here? You know what? I'm going to trust this guy. Maybe I'm the one that's wrong here. The problem's with me. I'm going to go put my faith in. Once you do, that fighter proves you right the whole time. You were right about him. Right? You know exactly what I'm talking about, Clint. And audience, I'm sure you've been there too.
Cody Durden.
Yes. Yeah. I get that feeling with Petrino where I was like, oh, he's a fraud. Oh, no, wait. He's better at heavyweight. But part of me still thinks that the right guy is going to get that to come out there. You know what I'm saying, Clint? So I'm going to pick him, but I'm scared of this one. I'm scared.
I feel you, man. I completely understand that fear, and you are correct 9 times out of 10, man. If I've been saying fade, and they go on a 4-fight win streak, and I go, you know what? I'm going to lay the chalk this time. Every single damn time. That's the one where I was right all along, and I should have been fading. So I feel you, man. I absolutely feel you.
You pay money to be proven right in those cases.
Absolutely. And, Brittany Mahomes better watch out, because my boy Justin said, legit thought you were about to say my hairy ass, and he can get that too. Let's go.
Oh, no. Rahiki or whatever. That's Rikishi. There we go.
Yeah, here we go, everybody. Main event of the evening. Anthony Fluffy Hernandez takes on Gregory Rodrigues. What a fight. So Gregory Rodrigues is one of those freaks of nature, Dan, that I have had just the hardest time with. 19-6. He's a monster. He's 34 years old, maybe. This is like a check the birth certificate guy. I refuse to believe that face is 34. I feel like he's got to be 38. But anyway, he's just a beast. He's so much bigger than everybody. He hits so damn hard. And we've seen him have horrible IQ. We've seen him have terrible durability. We've seen his cardio come into question before. None of it matters. He still comes in here and just melts people. Like, we saw Jared Cannonier, and actually that was one where, again, I was too scared at that point to put my nuts on the table, but I called the Jared Cannonier upset when it got to the championship rounds. This man is not built for 25 minutes. He's just not. There's too much frame. That's too much muscle. So if he hits you, you're going to feel it. And if he gets you on the ground, he is another guy that will just rip your shoulder straight out of its socket and throw it to some kid in the stands. He'll have a great souvenir to take home after the fight. So you don't want to stand with this guy. But I always go back, Dan. I always go back to the Iron Turtle, because the Iron Turtle, small, quick, he's getting up in this dude's face, and he had Hobocop hurt worse than anybody I've ever seen. This man was on skates from just these quick little punches in the pocket, and then he decided, you know what? Fuck this shit. And he took 2 big steps forward and sent that man to the canvas. Like, that's the kind of monster that we are dealing with in this spot.
Stories about the training that this dude is doing right now.
Just like that, RoboCop with a...
Dan, Diego doesn't know where he is. Did you hear him? The way he came in on that punch, that was some cardio kickboxing shit where you're going like, that was not the hardest punch he's ever thrown. And Diego had no clue what day of the week it was. So RoboCop has ridiculous levels of power. Now, Fluffy is kind of the exact opposite. This is like a yin and yang fight, man. 15-3, 32 years old. He's a cardio machine. He's got really good boxing, but he has no power with which to speak of. This man cooks people. Okay, I will never forget the ground and pound of Michel Pereira in round 5. I truly believe Fluffy took that man's soul. I think Michel really thought he was a fighter until he fought Fluffy, and he's never been the same since. This guy just chains grappling. He just wears on you. He's got an incredible submission skill set. He knows how to get to people's backs. He makes people quit, and you can decide if you want a cardio death with punches or if you want to give up the sub, because he will just maul you to the point that you finally say uncle, and he does it to everybody. The downside on Fluffy is he's a little bit of a soft body, Dan. He's not quite ripped and jacked the way some of these guys are. We've always known the durability concerns to the body. He got knocked out way back in the day, and that was something that we've all kind of forgot about when Kevin Holland sparked him in like 40 seconds early in his career. Yeah. Well, he got to the top of the mountain, and that finally came back to bite him. It was the king cardio fight, him against Sean Strickland, and Sean got the better of him because he was able to shuck some of these takedowns. This fight to me is just it's nuclear levels of what the fuck, because if Fluffy can get takedowns, Hobocop won't last 10 minutes. If Fluffy can't get takedowns, Gregory's gonna kill him. Dan, this is just violence. This is just a pure violence fight. In no world does Gregory ever have the cardio to keep up with Anthony Hernandez. But I am not sure that Anthony Hernandez has the strength to get those giant, thick tree trunk thighs of this man to bend and go down to the ground. Fluffy is your favorite at -165. Gregory Rodrigues is +140 as the underdog. I have to lean dog or pass here. Like, after seeing what Sean did to this guy, I know Gregory doesn't have the same kind of cardio, but I feel like it's going to take less opportunities to hurt him with the amount of power that he has. The problem with that is, again, I can talk myself into the reverse of this, that if he swings and misses on one or two and ends up on his ass, he's cooked. Because once you get those takedowns coming, it's like Marab. They just never stop. Once you give up one, the next one gets a little easier. He did the same thing to Roman Dolidze, another guy who never gets finished. He got him down so many times. Eventually, that muscle don't matter no more, and you're able to give up a neck or a TKO because he'll just tap you at that point. I kind of think I like violence more than anything. We got a 3.5. Under is chalked big time at -2.5. I would almost be interested in buying down on an under 2.5 because I think it might go shorter than that no matter who wins this thing. I lean violence more than anything, Dan. I lean dog or pass, but I also really like Anthony Hernandez, so I don't want to pick against him. It's a weird head-heart dynamic thing going on right now. I am all over the place on this main event. Gregory Rodrigues, final answer. I hate it. What are you doing here?
So yeah, so you feel me on the love for the under, right? I mean,
I do.
But again, it's my own confidence that's going to keep me from it. And I would say, and I'm sure you would agree with me, that if you are thinking like I am about firing on, let's say, a -163 that's below open or below 20% below market price on Hernandez, that part of me would like to have, or if I'm playing rounds 2 and 3 and 4 with Hernandez, like I like to do in 5-rounders, Clint, which was really painful with Michel Pereira, because I'm like, do I go 3-5 or do I go 2-4? Because you really you can't just play everything on the board. Obviously, you lose profit. That's silly. So you really, you can maybe go max 2 out of the rounds if it's a 3-rounder. You go max 3 out of the rounds if it's a 5. And you know what? I was going to go 3-5 against Michel Pereira, but I was like, that round 2 feels so hot. That feels like the hot round. I got to have exposure. So I adjusted it from 2-4. And sure enough, he gets to finish it in round 5, but also proved my analysis right, because round 2 was a violent round that he barely got out of. So I always pull my hair out with those, right? Now, last one, you can say that I think somebody said, somebody in the chat said, oh, someone got into Fluffy's ear, and boy, does it feel like that with some of these matchups. I'm not going to lean into that or any kind of cope there. I was on Hernandez, and it was a painful bet because I was probably overcorrecting the steering wheel against my bias. Again, folks, just because the Southpaw stat says something doesn't mean I go for it. Just because somebody fights out of my gym and has my guy Eric Nixick in the corner doesn't mean I pick them every time, folks. I call balls and strikes as best I can, and I always state my biases. But that one was just a bad bet. It felt really stupid, Clint. It felt really dumb. And the body shots have always been there. That's something I've been screaming at the top of my lungs. But it's just one of those things, like, it's so hard to count on fighters to fight the correct game plan. As demeaning, as silly as that sounds to say, it's the absolute truth. You know that as well, Clint. So it's one of those things where, like, am I going to depend on the guy with all the athletic potential, which is RoboCop gives that dynamic, right? Or kind of like the dynamic we're talking about, Clint, with Mason Jones. We talked about it with RDR, and now we're going to talk about it again with Hernandez, where, yeah, I like pressure fighters, and maybe that's a bias of mine, but you know what? Given the current meta of styles as well as the current scoring criteria we're in, yeah, I want the guy coming forward, throwing strikes and takedowns, giving the judges something to judge. That's who I want every time. I don't want the back foot person. It's really hard to win a fight in the back foot, even when I'm stupid enough to pick against the pound for pound great Ian Gary. And apparently it was not as bad of a pick as as what I'm treating it as. But again, I'm not leaning into any of the cope, even if I can. Bad picks on me. So I'm a little in my head here, but I'm really close to firing on the Hernandez 2 through 4 and even his money line. But if I do, Clint, well, then if he is going to lose, it's going to be by that under, right? And if he gets it done through 2 through 4, well, then unless it's on the very back half of round 4, well, that under should catch 2 under 3.5, right? So that's where I'm at. Because originally I was like, let me just give me like a Judice or a Douglas leg with this under, and I'll take that chalk close enough for me, right? But that's kind of what I'm juggling between a 3-leg or that's more sexier, or a less sexy 2-leg, and then overexposing myself in the main event fight, and then we get hobo cop by decision with my luck, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
don't overexpose yourself, man. Don't.
Yeah.
But I'd be looking like, I don't mind like under 3.5 and RDR if that was going to be some. I said I'd find my way like a cheeky little. I don't mind that, because then I got a little sweat for violence in the main evit. I've got my RDR leg. It's minus 118. It's like that's the kind of thing I could be talking.
Oh,
to,
that's good. Sure. Yeah, dude, yeah. That'd be cool.
Man. All right. Well, folks, that is UFC Sacramento. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. My man, Dan, thank you very much for spending time with me again tonight. As always, a pleasure. That was a big card, you guys. We had a lot of fun. We talked some shit. It was a good night. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please hit that like button. Please check out my man, Dan. Links in the description below. Give him a follow. My man, if there's anything you got coming up, articles, work you do, whatever, sponsors, shout them out, my man. The floor is yours.
I would just shout out at Dan Tom MMA on the artist formerly known as Twitter, but I don't even know how much longer I'm going to have socials, to be honest. So, but if you want to follow me to fade me, that's more than welcome. I can't recommend you follow me for anything else, but I do appreciate the love, Clint. You are way too kind. Your show and your people, your chat is awesome. Thank you guys. It was fun going back and forth. Don't take anything I said too seriously. I get really passionate, but it's all fun and bullshit. This stuff doesn't really matter, folks. It's all fun. I know Clint will agree with me on that too. And just shouts to you, Clint. I've been rooting for you, man. You know that. So I'm going to be rooting for you to continue your streak. And yeah, thank you and your audience.
Hell yeah, man. Appreciate you. I'm telling you, I've got the Midas touch right now. We are turning it around, and that includes you, my friend. You're going to have a good week this week. I'm Oprah. You're going to have a good week. You're going to have a good week. You're going to have
There we go.
Everybody in the chat's going to have a good week. Let's freaking go. Love you guys very, very much. You guys know this. This is a safe space in the betting community. We don't allow, the bigotry and the hate to seep in over here, but we can joke around. We can have a good time. And Patrick Mahomes is a perfect example, or Patrick Mahomes' wife is a perfect example of that in the chat, threatening me with arm bars. We're having a good one here. You guys come on back. We'll be doing props. We'll be doing totals. You guys know you can find those right here on the channel. Of course, the Undefeated Post Weigh-In Show on Friday. And then watch out for those socials, because I got to figure out who I'm sniping for Dana White's Contender Series tomorrow. I start studying Dana White's Contender Series after I get done with the podcast, because you guys are more important to me than worry about the Tuesday night fights. We'll see if I can pick something out this week or not. But have a wonderful week. Make good choices. Never bet more than you can afford to lose. And let's just keep enjoying this absolutely epic run of MMA fights we have going. My boy Vinzi in the chat says to read his post. He says, just wait and live bet, Fluffy. And that's never a bad option, because if the fight starts slow, absolutely do that. And if you guys do want to check out, by the way, my boy Vinzi is very, very sharp. He's got a very good model. He is on Twitter. So please make sure you check him out, because he absolutely is putting up some good work and good numbers and things like that. Another good guy in the community that you can follow and connect with and get some good information from. Anyway, I'm starving. My daughter wants Chipotle. We ran a little bit long today, so I got to go get some burritos for the girls, you guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. Let's stay hot. Let's roll.